nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father, help us to be receptive to the thoughts and challenges that come through us through prayer, through the printed page, and from the world around us. And help our leaders to find the best solutions to the problems that we face. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce an adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also, pursuant to the 2013 rules and resolutions of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for the receipt of public comments. Public comments will be received with respect to agenda items prior to board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comments will occur later in the meeting. Public comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the Deputy Clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting this public announcement and the grant written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Arter.
Present.
Freeholder Belgard.
Here.
Freeholder Howard.
Here.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Here.
And Freeholder Greg Donald.
Present. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the regular public meeting of May 23rd, 2013. So moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Arter. Any discussion?
May 22nd,
With the
23rd, I think. Maybe I heard it.
I need better lenses. May 22nd, 2013. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes are adopted. At this time, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the conference meeting of May 8th, 2013. So moved. Moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Belgard. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are adopted. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the conference meeting of May 22nd, 2013. So moved. Moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Freeholder Arter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are adopted. At this time, we have a public hearing for the collection of a dedicated levy of 1.5 cents per $100 of equalized valuation for deposition in the Burlington County Open Space Recreation and Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund, and allocating such funds among the approved uses. First, Mary Pat Lobby is going to do a presentation for us.
Thank you, Freeholder Donnelly. My name is Mary Pat Lobby. I am the Director of the Department of Resource Conservation, and it is my department that oversees the administration of the Burlington County Recreation, Open Space, and Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. That is the name that is given to this fund by law, not by us. In 1996, Burlington County went out to the voters of this county and asked them to approve a referendum to raise 2 cents per $100 of equalized valuation for the purposes of land preservation. The voters approved that referendum, and the dedicated levy was approved with the sunset of 2011. In 1998, we went back to the voters and asked them to approve another 2 cents. The voters approved an additional 2 cents for a total of 4, and that tax was in effect until 2018. In 2006, the sunset provisions of the 2 referenda started to seriously impact what we could do with the funds raised. So we went back to the voters and asked them to approve the sunset of both of the 2 cent referenda until 2036, and that was overwhelmingly approved. So from now until 2036, the freeholders can authorize up to 4 cents for the dedicated levy to be placed in the trust fund. So when we went to the voters the past twice, we didn't ask them to specifically approve the permitted purposes of the fund. We said 4 cents, and we could use them for any of the approved uses. So every year, the freeholders have to adopt a resolution saying that they're going to raise the money for the tax and determining how they're going to allocate that amongst the permitted uses. So the permitted uses of the trust fund, and this is coming right from the legislation, is acquisition, development, and maintenance of land for recreation and conservation purposes, acquisition of farmland for farmland preservation purposes, historic preservation, and for payment of debt service for any debt incurred for any of the approved uses. So since the fund was approved in 1996, the county has undertaken an aggressive campaign to implement our Parks and Open Space Master Plan as well as our Farmland Preservation Plan. And since that time, we have been able to preserve 25,000 acres of farmland, and that's just using county funds. Overall, in Burlington County, we have 54,000 acres of preserved farmland. We've helped preserve 6,000 acres of open space, and we have developed 8 regional parks, 6.3 miles of trail, county fairgrounds, canoe trails, and have made major progress in renovation of our 2 historic sites, Smithville Mansion and the Historic Prison Museum over here in Mount Holly. We've been successful in achieving all of this because we have help. We have help from cost share partners, mostly at the state Greenacres and the Agricultural Development Committee. We've also had a nice relationship with, believe it or not, the Department of Defense, who have helped us to preserve land surrounding the Joint Base. So all told, through the course of our history here, we have received $104 million from our cost share partners. And at the end of 2012, the beginning of 2013, in this dedicated fund, we now have a balance of over $48 million. A lot of money, again, that's because of the help of our cost share partners, but the economy has actually helped us. The price of land has gone down, so we've been able to preserve more farmland with less money. And in our parks development projects, from 2009 on, all of those projects have come in well below the engineer's estimate because people are looking for work and they're bidding a little lower on the construction of the park. So that's all worked to our favor. So I'd like to show you a graph that shows how the surplus in our fund has grown from 2008 to 2012. So you can see we've seen pretty dramatic jumps in the funds that we have on hand. So the 2013 proposal is to raise $1.50. And we're going to use those funds received this year, about $6.7 million, together with other projected income from our state cost share partners of about $3.6 million. And we're going to take $12 million out of that $48 million we have sitting in reserve. And we're looking at a total budget of $22.5 million for 2013. We're projecting to use that money, $2.5 million for salary and wage. $3.3 million is identified as other expenses, and that's predominantly maintenance of the parks and the properties that are now within our inventory. $6 million is going to go for development of new parkland, including the Municipal Parks Development Grant Program, and $4.2 million is slated for acquisition of farmland and open space. $6.7 million will be used to pay debt service. So what are we going to do with the money in 2013? Farmland preservation. We've set a goal of 70,000 acres of preserved farmland in this county. As I mentioned, we have 54,000 acres, but we still have 50,000 acres that are out there that have been targeted for preservation. we have, no real thought that we're going to preserve all the additional 50,000 acres. But our plan calls for a goal of about 1,000 acres per year. In 2012, we took applications to the Farmland Preservation Program. We processed 7 applications. If all 7 of those property owners accept the offers that we've just made, and we believe that they will accept those offers, we will have another 1,429 acres of preserved farmland. And the freeholders just this evening approved the 2013 application round for the Farmland Preservation Program. Open space preservation, we really haven't allocated a lot of money for open space preservation because we have a lot of land in our inventory. Our parks plan calls for a regional system of interconnected parks and trails. And for the most part, we have the land to build that park system when it comes to the regional parks or the hub parks. And as many of you know, we've identified areas where we're going to concentrate park development. The Rancocas Greenway along the Delaware, the southwest branch of the Rancocas, Masons Creek, and the Barkers Brook area in Springfield Township. So I think for open space, we're in pretty good shape, and we really don't anticipate major expenditures in this area in the year 2013. For parks development projects, we have slated major improvements for Crystal Lake, that's in Mansfield Township, the Anderson Farm in Delran, and the Willingboro Lakes property in Willingboro. And this is a property that the Township of Willingboro had owned up until last year. And they transferred title to the county because they didn't have the wherewithal to make the necessary improvements to that parcel. And we're hoping to accomplish that sometime later this year. We have a few things going on with respect to regional trails. Freeholders, again, just tonight, approved a contract with an engineer to do a feasibility study for a 3-mile segment of the proposed Concord Trail. That trail segment will go from the Mansfield Community Park to the Springfield Community Park, all through preserved farmland. So we're really excited about getting that trail segment open. The other trail system we've been working on is the Arnie's Mount Trail, and we're hoping to construct 9 miles of trail and a trailhead. And this will be something a little unique for Burlington County because we will actually have a trail that has hills. And so it'll be a little rugged terrain, which will make for a little bit more challenging hike or bike. Historic preservation projects at Smithville, we're looking to renovate houses 10 and 11. It's the lovely houses that we've been sort of picking off over the years. The Smithville complex includes some of the old factories that date back to H.B. Smith's time in the mid-1800s. The factory walls are falling down, and they're creating a safety hazard, and what we would like to do is do something to stabilize the walls and open up that area for public access. We have our Ag Center in Morristown, a farmhouse that we hope to make some renovations to, including installation of a commercial kitchen that will allow us and others to use that kitchen for educational purposes, and also to rent it out if you wanted to make jams or jellies or sauces and sell them to the public, because you have to do that in an approved commercial kitchen in the state of New Jersey. And that barn is in desperate need of a new roof. So that will be something that gets done by the end of this year. The freeholders have also approved another round of the Municipal Park Development Grant Program. That's $5 million that gets allocated to grants for municipalities for mostly park improvement projects, and each town can get up to $250,000 for the projects. We have some new initiatives. If you were at Earth Fair, you might have noticed that we have a new exhibit, the Underground Railroad Museum. We're hoping to make a permanent exhibit at Smithville for the museum. We're also looking at incorporating the Mount Holly Library into our historic property, and that will serve as a museum and also a place to do family research. I'm not going to try to say genealogical, and also a lyceum where there'll be historic documents on file for people to review. And the Rainfocus Nature Center, a project that we're very excited about, and that's a partnership between the state, West Hampton Township, and the Friends of the Rainfocus Nature Center and the Rainfocus Conservancy. So, just to repeat, for the future outlook, the fund balance remains robust. If we spend what we project this year, we'll go into 2014 with a $36 million balance. And I'd just like to point out that our budget numbers are projections, and it doesn't mean that in 2013, if the holy grail of farmland preservation, the Hellas Stock Farm in Springfield, came to us, then, we would go to the freeholders and say, this is an extraordinary opportunity. Can we spend more than the $4.2 million that we allocated? In 2014, we will be able to continue the aggressive pursuit of the preservation program, continue development of the parks and trails, support our municipalities and their parks projects, take on additional historic preservation projects, and hopefully we'll find some new program initiatives and expansions. So that's all for me.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'll open the meeting, the public hearing on the collection of the dedicated levy of 1.5 cents. I think there's another list line on that too, right? Someone have a clipboard, please sign on stage for that. I'm going to work from this first. This public hearing is strictly on the open space levy. So if there's something else you'd like to speak about, or the other items during the agenda, which you can speak. I'm going to run through the list if you wish to speak now. Come forward if you wish to speak later, just say later. Randy Rothmo, Mount Holly Township.
We are smart growth at work. We need the state of farmland preservation. We are creating expansive new park and hiking trail system along the magnificent Delaware River and tranquil and Focus Creek. These are the words of the Freeholder message found on front page of the 2008 Burlington County Economic Resource Guide. Burlington County preserves more land. News headline in the Courier Post in 2012. The article goes on to say that the county needs new farmland preservation. Pretty powerful statement. These goals and achievements are only possible by having a dedicated trust fund for preservation of open space, farmland, and historic sites. And its continued funding has been approved over and over again by the residents of Burlington County. As recently as 2009, the Burlington County voters overwhelmingly approved 3 ballot questions that authorized the board to collect an annual levy of up to 4 cents for $100 of assessed property value. As mentioned already, the revenue has been used for acquisition, development of lands for recreation and conservation purposes, acquisition, recreation of farmland, acquisition, preservation of historic places, and debt service payment. And more recently, the trust fund monies have been made available to many Burlington County municipalities for grants to help them provide additional recreational opportunities. In the most populous state of the nation, this continued land preservation efforts are the only way that we're going to be able to maintain our current quality of life. By protecting the remaining open space for recreational purposes, protect our waterways, provide clean source of water, protect our forested areas, and provide critical clean air. Not to mention preserving these open spaces, protect critical wildlife habitat. Bald eagle is making a comeback, not only because it discontinued its BDT, because we have preserved its habitat so it can have nesting and hunting grounds. Many other threatened and endangered species, from birds, reptiles, fish, amphibians, plants, and trees, are dependent on our efforts to be stewards of our environment so we can sustain both a healthy and connected open space system and parks of protected wildlife areas. Face it, New Jersey is reaching built-out capacity. It is no time to dismantle an essential program that has today been so effective and served as a model for the rest of New Jersey and for the country. Reducing its funding source by 62.5% would be detrimental to the program. The comprehensive farmland preservation plan from 2008 projected that 22.3 million was requested from tax levies to trust in 2012. When in actuality, only 19.1 million was actually collected. And this proposal will reduce that amount much further, down to 6.7 million. And any surplus that we now have will be short-lived with such a dramatic cut. The Burlington County Open Space and Park Master Plan, as well as the county's farmland preservation master plan, are model plans, and many of the projects in these plans, although they have been started to be undertaken, the work is not complete. As noted in the Burlington County website under the Welcome tab for the Division of Parks, with more than 1,000 acres of developed parkland, 3,500 acres of land slated for park development in a regional rail system will provide a link between the park that the residents of Burlington County can enjoy nature settings, recreational water access, picnic facility, play areas that are close to home. This envisioned regional trail system is still in its infancy and far from complete. Why stop now on the way to the goal of 70,000 acres of farm preservation and the long-term goal of nearly 15,000 acres of open space as proposed in the Open Space Master Plan for 2002? Funds are not only critical to land acquisition, but also as a stable funding source for the maintenance of these historic sites, parks, farmland, and open space, which is essential to the residents of Burlington County. At this time, when there's no dedicated funding source for the statewide Green Acres program, cutting our own local space funding is simply not a wise move. With a reduction to 1.5 cents tax levy, will certainly, it's going to save money certainly for the taxpayer. But at what long-term cost to your children and your children's quality of life living in Burlington County? A 4-cent tax levy, $6.40 average per household. 25,000 acres of preserved farmland cost $179 million. 1 year of local park improvements preservation cost $5 million. A family bike ride on the future trail from Mount Holly to Bedford, priceless. I urge members of the board to vote no to a reduction in the open space tax levy and not cave into this perhaps political point to set the stage for a campaign tax in the coming election season.
Thank you. Mr. Malanis?
I got something
Later.
at the end.
Roger Kumpel?
Burlington County Freeholder comment. My name is Roger Tumple. I'm a farmer from Southampton Township. I not only believe in farmland preservation, I have 2 farms myself, my wife and I, which are both preserved, one through the county program, one through the state. To us farmers, it is a very critical thing. It means a lot to us to be contiguous with all the neighbors, not houses jammed in between us and trying to farm with people with houses and trying to comply with pesticide regulations and so on. So for that reason, for one, we support the program. And with the situation we are now facing with the state, we have our $400 million at the state level. As you know, it's all dedicated now. This is gone. Once it's sent to Burlington County or Southampton Township, there's no more. So the governor and our legislators in Trenton get with the taxpayers, and everybody agrees that this is how we're going to do a permanent funding or temporary funding, things we've done. We have none right now. So Burlington County, being a leader, is going to be here sitting and going to have to pay for any farm they want to preserve or seek to preserve in this county if we don't have money in Trenton. If we just got another $400 billion bond issue and we knew we had money for the next 5 years, then I say, maybe you're on the right track, we could cut back a little bit. But I even say today, maybe if you said, we'll take 1 cent and we'll try it for 2 or 3 years and see where we are then. If we haven't taken in a bunch more farms, preserved a bunch of health stock farm, Garretons on 206 and 530 there on that corner, that's a hot property. And it's been bypassed. It's like picking apples. We picked the ones off the bottom of the tree. Some were right. We got to get back and get the rest of them to make them contiguous with the ones of us that are farming in that community. So I think it's a really mistake to take it all away, like you've done. I mean, 1.5 cents is minimal. If you said 1 cent, we'll try it, and the agriculture community would be behind it. And if you said also, we're going to do this for 2 years, and then we're going to return it back to the 4 cents for open space, we would be behind it. But to take us from 4 down to 1.5, we can't digest that. It's not fair. We don't think you're really, we understand, and we're farmers. We have to adjust our belts too. When financial situations come about, we need to do what we need to do. But we think that you need to do a little less and think about the long term. If you're thinking about this year's budget, maybe next year's budget. We got a long time to go to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Louis Lopez? Michael Krabowski?
Good evening, Freeholders. My name is Mike Grabowski. I'm with the Indian Mills Historical Society. Also, I've attended the County Historian Roundtable for the past number of years. I'm up here to question the reason why local funding for local preservation, historical preservation, has not been addressed. Earlier, we saw that the 3 locations, Smithville, the prison, and the Mount Holly Library is on the agenda. But you do have 40 municipalities in the county, and most of the municipalities have historical societies. And I know that there's a number of them that would like to acquire locations, buildings, or property that is a significant historical value. They're not asking for a complete handout, but it seems to me that historical preservation is way down on the bottom of the list, and I would like that issue to be addressed. So I know that Director Donovan and Gary Pack had a meeting with Joe Lawford and Paul Shop the other day, and it was mentioned that the issue was kind of detached from Director Donovan. So again, I'm just here to ask the freeholders to look at the overall package when a decision is made. Thank you.
Robert Talon?
Thanks for listening to us. I understand what you're going through, because trying to keep the budget is not easy. You've got a lot of responsibility. But I do think this is something we really want to do. And I think I have a list of things I wrote down there, but I don't think. We know the value of open space. We see, we know how important it is to get the water back in the ground. We have dangerous aquifers that are overdrawn now. You know, the more space we have open, the cleaner our air is. I mean, all these things you guys, we've all heard, we've all said, and I've said it so many times in meetings, I could go over the litany of things. But I think it's very important that we don't lose track of this, and we keep vigilant on this open space, because we just sit right between 2 big, huge areas, New York and Philadelphia. I'm sure there's developers just licking their chops to try to win as they can. Right now, it's not good for them. Just don't want to see a strong guard at a time like this. So if you have to consider this and you have no alternatives, like the fellow, the farmer just said before me, please consider bringing, but don't take as much as you're planning to bring it back in a couple of years, because this is too important, I think, to keep ourselves, we're a leader in the country, so with open space, so it's very important that we continue to do it, but it's actually, not only is it a good thing for the environment and our health, but these open spaces will actually reduce our taxes in the future because we won't have all these services. So I commend you. You have a heck of a job. I know you don't have a lot of places you can cut and still provide services. So do this very with extreme caution. Thank you.
Christian Brown? No, thank you. Fred Wainwright.
Good evening, Freeholders. My name is Fred Wainwright. I presently live in Burlington. My mailing address is Burlington. I live in Florence. But I was formerly councilman and mayor of Mansfield Township. I farmed as a dairy farmer for over 50 years. I now serve as the Burlington County Director of Farm Bureau. And I guess I will speak pretty much from Farm Bureau right tonight. We had a discussion and we questioned how you would legally, and you must be able to do this. And if you do have to do it, we would like to see you just take it for 2 years and promise to get it back. And if in 2 years, if you realize you can't get it back, then have another meeting. Let us discuss it. I don't think you need to stockpile more than you have for farmland preservation. That's my opinion. But I do want to have it available whenever it is needed. Because there is farms out there that need to be preserved. And I think there's some out there that want to be preserved. And I think some of them are prime property for farming. Of course, they're costing more than the others. And I myself can't understand where somebody said land values are going down. Let me tell you, good farmland is not going down. It's almost doubled in the last 5 or 6 years in the Midwest. So why shouldn't ours continue to go up? We grow the same thing they do. It costs us more to grow it, but we still grow it and try to make it here in New Jersey or Burlington County. Burlington County is one of the better places to have a farm, I would think. I've lived here all my life, and the family's been here for generations. The homestead is just about 200 years, and in the Wainwright Town, it's preserved. So, with that, I'd like to thank you for what you've done, but I still think that don't try to take it all and not promise something back. If you can give us a couple of years, say you're going to come back with it, I don't think you'll have a lot of problems. With that, I'll thank you.
Billy Canfield Gaskell. Marion Reinhardt.
Thank you, Director. I also want to speak to item J, public hearing dedicated levy of 1 cents. First of all, I need you to know that I do oppose any reduction in this tax. Also, I believe that the way that this was presented to the public was an 11th-hour decision. It did not give us the opportunity to sit down and speak with anyone to get our input. And I also need to reiterate once again, because I come to all these meetings and when I was a freeholder, I had asked to have local historic projects be included in these monies. And it had been refused every single time. And just most recently again it was refused. And I find it hard to believe that, and Mary Pat stated it, that this gave us the name of this trust fund. It's open space, farmland preservation, and historic preservation. And she said by law, that is the title, that's what we're spending money on. So, I am asking you once again to reconsider local historic projects. Also, the reason that I'm opposed to the reduction is that I believe, yes, there is a hefty surplus there, or balance, should we call it. But I also believe that farmers are aging. They need this opportunity to have their properties looked at and be aggressive in spending these monies and completing these projects while we have the money, while we have the balance, and while we have that $19 million coming in each year. Also, I can't understand why we would be cutting, not we, the freeholders, would be cutting this tax levy at a time when the state has no money for any of us for these projects. And not only the state, townships are now cutting their funding. So I truly believe at this point we need a transfusion, and that transfusion would be to leave the balance where it is, and also to leave the tax levy where it is. And I must say that I'm very, very disappointed. I attended 2 meetings, Director, and I had asked you about this, or were you considering reducing the tax? You did not give me an answer, and you assured me that you would get an answer to me in writing, which I have not received to this date. Yes, May 22nd. So I still look forward to that answer, and once again, to the public, these monies can be well spent, and they can be spent now. And I truly believe that we should move ahead. Thank you.
Barbara Rich.
Good evening, Barbara Rich, 37 East Central Town. I wish I could please contain this, but it wouldn't work very well, so I'm sorry. One side. The board wants to support Burlington County's past and needed future funding for not only the Maricopa Street Greenway initiative, but present and future preservation and maintenance projects for the county, town, and nonprofits. With connectivity being an imperative, concentrate on the county preservation and open space master plan, which included the Maricopa Street Greenway. While funds are still available, the county should continue its highly recognized program, especially with the present opportunity to work with the Department of Defense for the 2- and 5-mile buffer areas in Burlington County. And as an aside, I would hope that there be opportunity for more open meetings for citizen participation in that project. There could be approximately 10,000 acres to build, and I'm not sure whether those are included in very excellent presentation. Quality of life economic development driver leads to jobs for local businesses, including construction, agriculture, and recreation. Curtailing open space and farmland preservation results in missing the lower real estate prices and also lower interest rates. Burlington County was a standard bearer in the state and should continue in future years with its pledge of preservation and recreation within its own master plan. The towns will also have master plans with considering the county participation, and not to overlook including the nonprofit community. Burlington County is the foundation for these partnerships, which is one of the major reasons for success. The program needs to remain in its present form of income and into the future. There are too many unknowns at this point in time. And I do have a request. If there are names that are not on that list, there might be some people in the audience who are still interested in speaking. And is it permissible to read a letter from Mark Thomas, who lives out of state at the home in Burlington? Thank you. The title is Steady Hand on the Till, in parentheses, ER, tiller. Burlington County's open space tax, 1996 to 2036. Freeholders take the long view. The board of chosen freeholders of Burlington County, New Jersey. On a fine late June evening in 1996 at Coffin Park Farm, the Burlington County freeholders signed into ordinance the first open space farmland preservation tax in the history of the county. As a sequel to the state farmland preservation program, it was critically needed stable source of funding in a county that was rapidly losing its leafy corridors and sylvan and agricultural vistas to tax-expensive suburban development.
At the time, the county's park system, consisting of surplus, sprouted a new idea. A county-wide system of parks, a 25-mile Lancaster Greenway initiative, as well as allied programs at Orangetown, Parker's Brook, Kincora, and Medford Mount Holly Trail, some of which Mary Cat highlighted. These programs, popular with the county swelling with new and younger residents and children, created the public support over the following 16 years for a number of increases in the tax by referendum, as well as an extension of the tax to 2036. The public courage of the freeholders created a political atmosphere in which many municipalities in the county enacted their own open space taxes. In this way, the freeholders leveraged both political and financial capital to further its recreational and conservation goals. As a founder of the Lancaster Conservancy, I lauded and encouraged them at each step of the way. This is the historical context of the freeholders' proposal to decrease the open space farmland preservation tax from 4 cents to $100 fiscal valuation to 1.5 cents. A decrease of 52%, and to permit a readjustment of the rate on an annual basis as part of the yearly budgeting process. The decrease in the revenues raised would create a loss of leverage and a lack of matching funds available from the Greenacres program, municipality and foundation grants, as well as measure-based funding for its buffer acquisition program. The political financial uncertainty of the annual adjustment of the tax would jeopardize the sensitive nature of ongoing acquisitions, often taking years to cultivate and complete. The recent quote-unquote touting of the surplus of money in the open space fund is unwise, particularly given our experience with the economy of 2007 and its continuing weakness. In 1996, when the open space tax was instituted, the county population was 417 million people. In 2035, it is projected to reach 492 million, with the bulk of that increase projected to occur between now and then. We are less than halfway there. We've had a friendly, forward-looking board of chosen freeholders who have taken the long view, who have raised their sights to a distant future of a livable Burlington County, and legislated a political and financially stable mechanism for bringing the vision into full power. Burlington County residents will support the long view because they want the public health they enjoy here to be augmented and protected. They will support a decision by the Board of Chosen Freeholders to maintain the open space farmland preservation tax at 4 cents and to preserve the program in its present form until 2036. Future generations of county residents will praise you for your wise and public-spirited decision for the security of open space farmland preservation program during focus from the rest of Burlington County. Mark Thomas, 26 South Woods Valley, Lisbon.
Thank you. Ruth Larkin.
I'd like to start by saying thank you to everyone who works for the county. County government is not so visible, and you do so many things, and it's often thankless, and I'm genuinely very appreciative of that. And I'm embarrassed to say, unlike some of the other people who've spoken, that I've never been to a freeholders meeting. I've been to other meetings. So I was not aware of surplus. And my first question this evening was, why is there such a surplus? The voters overwhelmingly approved this tax quite some time ago and have gone back to the polls and reiterated that sentiment. So why haven't we been preserving more? We have 48 million now, and you saw from the presentation that will drop 25% just in 1 year. Those funds are needed for unforeseen circumstances, Hurricane Sandy coming through, other emergency situations or unforeseen maintenance. Master plan for the county to identify certain projects that are still not completed. And I liked the quote where I heard about the county taking the long view. This has been in place 17 years. In my view, that's not a long view. That's sort of a sophomore view. Real estate that you want to preserve doesn't always come up, and we need to be ready with the funding. And it might be that 6 properties come up in 1 year, and we have none for 5 years. I think if someone mentioned the children, I think of the changes since I arrived as a resident here in 15 years, an extraordinary amount of development, very much changed around our town. And I'm wondering what the county will look like for our grandchildren if we slow down the pace of preservation. There'll be plenty of strip malls and lots of housing developments that need lots of roads around them because they were not designed in the small town design that most of our historic and charming towns are. So I think that's a real sacrifice if we don't keep, it's not enough to take a long view, we have to continue to work towards that. I very much disagree with very much thank you for your presentation, but I have to say I disagree very much with the statement that regarding open space, we're in pretty good shape. I don't think we're necessarily in pretty good shape. I think we're doing more than other counties, which is great, but there's so many environmental implications, habitat preservation, clean air. To give a very significant example is water quality. These open spaces replenish our aquifers, which are not in good shape. This is our water supply. They improve stream water quality, and those streams feed the Delaware River, which is where the rest of our water comes from because our aquifers are so depleted. So I think that continued preservation of open space, not just public parks, not just historic or farmland, all of which are important, but I do not think we can say that we've met that bar at all. And now I'm going to put on my taxpayer hat, and my taxes have gone up close to double since I moved here. When you don't preserve the space, someone's going to come and rebuild houses on it. And I've seen it in our town just in the time we moved here. And I'm paying for the schools that had to be built, the schools that had to be expanded, the roads that had to be built because of that continued development. It's really, really expensive, and it might not show up in this budget, but it's showing up in that budget, and it's all coming out of this pocket. And the traffic, I started commuting north in 97, I stopped for about 7 years, and I'm astonished at the increase in traffic and horrific traffic accidents in that time. Again, the more development you have, the more you have to pay for it. We've been very close to one of the largest cities in the country, and yet we have potential to maintain these beautiful farms, that should be allowed to produce without complaints about the smell from the mansion next door. These beautiful forests, it's easy to cut taxes, it's hard to raise them again. So please, taxpayers said 4 cents, go for it, keep it, and don't have a surplus, or have the surplus you need to maintain, but continue to buy properties. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. John Anderson?
Sorry, start off for a slightly better. My name is John Anderson. I live in West Hampton. I'd like the opportunity tonight to give my comments here. I think the Open Space Trust Fund is a valuable resource for the township and the people in the area. I think the discussion that you guys are opening up here is valid, and I think it's going to cut back on the waste you use. When that happens, then I think the rest of that money can go to permanent preservation. Thank you.
Thank you. William Love?
Hello there, William Love, Bedford, New Jersey. I have a little bit of a different twist on the situation here. I want to pass these down. There's a few large copies for us over to these days. There's a couple eye tests for the people there. What I want to do is get a better understanding of really why we're doing this, as far as a full 4 cent reduction. Excuse me, 2.5 cents, not 4 cents. The reason I say that is As you can see from the charts that I've done here, I've plotted out since 1997 the different elements of the taxes in Burlington County, where we had some significant increases, in particular, in 2004, where the base tax went from 126 million up to 160 million in about 4 or 5 years without any change in the tax rate. It went down, but the taxes went up. And at the same time, after we increased the 2 cents to the 4 cents on the open space tax from 2002, it was about 10 million, and now we're looking at $20 million today. So there's significant doubling of the taxes. And the same thing with the library. The library went from about 5 million to 10 million. So that's a little bit of history, and what we've had here is a situation where we've had a significant increase in overall taxes during this period of time, but a significant decrease in both the county tax rate. The county tax rate has gone from 56 cents down to approximately 38 cents last year. So what we really have is an inverse relationship between the county tax rate, which really doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to get to my point here with this. Because the only thing that really matters to the taxpayers is the taxes that shows up on your tax bill. And unless it's a coincidence, you never see the county tax rate on your bill. It's a notional amount. It's my assessment. It has nothing to do with equalized values. If you take a look at the chart I have below, you'll see that the local assessments could be 40 billion, and the county's using 50 billion. So obviously, if you're using something that's 25% higher, it gives the appearance that the tax rate is a lot less. So, just looking at the history here of what's happening is we're getting fixated on this county tax rate. And if my numbers are plugged in right from what I read in the paper, what we're trying to achieve is a tax rate of 37.9 cents. The combined rate, the library, the county, and the base, this year is 37.9. If my numbers are right, last year it was 37.9. It was 37.9 the year before. Why is that? I think it's just so we can say the county tax rate is flat. We're not increasing it. It gives the appearance that we're not increasing taxes. Where over the years we've had a declining rate in increasing taxes. So now we're going to take 2.5 cents from the open space tax, and maybe it makes sense. But I don't think it has to be 2.5 cents. Because from what I read in the paper is your base operating budget is going to go up $5 million. Correct? And
What's the open space, right? This is a hearing on open.
Well, it is. I'm getting to the point. So if it's going up, $5 million, yet we're going to take over $12 million out of the open space, and we're taking a couple $100,000 of money sitting on a library. So really, what we're going to have is we're going to have a tax levy that's going to go down $7.7 million. That's really what's happening. So why do we have to have, if we want to preserve some of the money, instead of going from $19 million plus in the open space down to 6.7, why not, reduce that decrease by the 7.7 million, and you can still say that the overall levy is flat. Who's going to blame you for that? So what I'm suggesting is rather than go to $6.7 million for the open space tax, add another 7.7 million. You're halfway. So whether it's election, fodder, I'm not saying it's politics, but let's get away from this notion of the county tax rate because it doesn't mean anything. I looked 1 year at all 40 towns, and 39 out of 40 towns didn't have a number that was close to the county tax rate because it's a notional amount. Get too complicated. The bottom line here is you don't care. At least I don't care what the combined rate is. I care about my taxes. So if you want to say overall as a county, the taxes are flat, because last year the combined taxes were 177.9. What I read in the paper today is you wanted to go to 170.2 million. 170,200,000. No. is that? Because what I'm really concerned about is, I thought I read somewhere else, okay, this was going to be for 1 year. And I understand because I didn't hear the full presentation like you too. So what I'm really concerned about is we're going to have a $7.7 million decrease this year. We know our spending's up $5 million, and I guess we'll see the budget at some point in time. That's there. So what's going to happen in 2014 and 2015? If we have another inflation of $5 million and we restore this, we're going to have a $20 million tax increase. On $170 million, next year, a year after, we're going to have a 10% increase in our taxes. So it's a yo-yo. Unless you have a long-term plan that we have to see, which I would suggest. It would seem to me the only way to do this is take some multiple years, going out and saying, hey, what will happen if we project it out? So my take on the open space, and save this, and maybe when it gets to the budget, I'm not complaining about the budget. I'm not doing any of that stuff. It's no criticism. I'm just saying, stick to total taxes. Forget about the rate. It doesn't matter. You can still brag that you get a flag. And restore $7.7 million back in the open space. And that way you want a significant increase going forward that you can have this money. Now, one of
Time's up.
it's time's up.
Yeah, 5 minutes, please.
Well, there's people spoke all that time. I know, you don't like the facts, do you? Because I got some other comments also, Mr. Drake. Okay, that I see in the paper, you're blaming $7.5 million loss of tax revenue because your ratables went down $2 billion. That's false.
Sir, we're on the open space. We can go back and talk about that
Okay.
two other times during the meeting.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Cohen.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Cohen. I'm a resident of Mount Laurel Township. I like the comment that I heard before about taking the long view. As a relatively new resident of the county and someone with an underwater mortgage, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm going to be here for a long time. I don't know about you guys, but I have to take the long view as a taxpayer. And I want to make sure that my taxes aren't being artificially undervalued now for the short term for political reasons when I'm going to have to pay the price down the road. Specifically, I'm concerned about the potential long-term environmental impacts from reducing the amount of money we set aside for open space preservation now. And I'm wondering if that's even been factored into your decision-making. Specifically, there's a concept in environmental economics called internalizing the externalities. What that means in layperson's terms is it's real easy to save money if you pretend that the costs are being paid by somebody else for the stuff that you're doing now. The costs of things like water pollution control, air pollution control, habitat preservation, restoration, and remediation, all the things that go along with increased pollution in our environment that are the logical result of not preserving land that may be available for purchase in the near to long-term future. There's a direct correlation, as very well documented, between development and increased water pollution, as well as air pollution. There is an inverse correlation. The opposite is also true, in that the more land you preserve, the less pollution that you have. The best way to protect water quality is to not develop the land that serves as the filter of the pollutants, both for stormwater runoff, direct discharge into the groundwater, and as was said earlier, our community is primarily served by groundwater aquifers. The best way and the cheapest way to protect water quality is to preserve the land. You can treat just about anything, but there is a cost associated with that treatment. And as many of you know, every time you get your bill from the water company, it shows you what the pollutants and the contaminants are that are in your water supply and how the levels relate to the federal and state regulations concerning what's safe to drink. We don't know, without doing a long-term trend study, which is probably available, I don't know if you've looked at it, where we are in terms of our water quality, the drinking water, and how that would be impacted by increased development that may occur if we don't continue to preserve our land. I don't want to take up a lot of time, but my questions for you are, have you thought about this stuff? Have you done an environmental impact analysis of the impact from reducing the money for open space preservation? Have you done a cost-benefit analysis? Have you looked at the internalizing those external costs that may result from not aggressively and actively pursuing purchase of additional lands and preserving it for open space, farmland, whatever, with the monies that you have now and the monies you would get if they weren't being reduced? Have you done this analysis? That's a question. Has there been an analysis? Okay, whatever. So along those lines, I missed the beginning of Mayor Pat's presentation, sorry. So you may have answered this question, but it seems from the points that were made by previous speakers that you talked about the stuff that you've done already to date with the money that you had, but was there a discussion of the process going forward? So you have a process for identifying lands that are out there, you prioritize them for purchase. Okay, so the money that you have now that you haven't spent, that's going to buy all the lands that you've identified as potential for purchase in perpetuity in Burlington County. Because if not, then I again would question the logic behind reducing this money if you know that, number one, purchasing open space is good for the environment, purchasing open space is cheaper than treating water for drinking water and other purposes, purchasing open space is reduces our carbon footprint, it does a myriad of environmental things that you will have to pay to improve if you don't purchase the land. And finally, the New Jersey Builders is on record as saying, don't regulate land to protect the environment, buy it. That's what open space preservation allows you to do. You don't end up in court over zoning. You don't end up in court with the builders. You end up doing what the citizens voted for you to do, which is buying the land to preserve it, take it out of development, protect the environment, do the right thing. Thank you.
John Boyle.
Good evening, Freeholders. My name is John Boyle. I'm the Research Director for the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia, and I am a resident of Edgewater Park. On behalf of my organization and myself, we are opposed to a reduction of open space funding. While the main expenditures of the funds have been focused on farmland preservation and open space, the county's proposed trail network is another important beneficiary for the fund. On a broader scale, 3 of the county's spine trails, Kincora Trail, the Rancocas Greenway, and the Delaware River Heritage Trail are part of the circuit, which is the name for the Greater Philadelphia's regional trail network. When completed, the circuit will consist of 750 miles of trails in 9 counties in South Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania. The circuit network will also be included in the upcoming Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission's 2040 long-range plan. So they are budgeting money to help build this regional trail network. We roughly estimate that it will cost at least $30 million to complete the 65 miles of trails, of the circuit trails through Burlington County. From a trail development standpoint, the county has been lagging behind its neighbors in southeast Pennsylvania. The main reason is that the projects have not been advancing beyond the planning stage. So most of the federal and local money made available for these trails have been spent in Pennsylvania. Close to 9% of the available regional trail funds have been spent in Pennsylvania, 10% have in the state of New Jersey, and in fact none in Burlington County at all. Using open space funds to plan and design trails will make these projects shovel-ready and demonstrate strong local support. This greatly increases the chances that these projects will be eligible for acquiring state and federal construction dollars. So the money that you use for the open space fund could bring itself back 5 times over in federal and state funding. I should say that the county planning department is trying to do its best with its limited resources. The county has just applied for a $4 million Tiger grant to build a 9-mile section of the Rancocas Greenway between Delanco and Mount Laurel. They have also spent a large amount of open space funds to connect the parks across the length of the Rancocas Greenway. And the planning department felt that so much of the space is now ready to be, is now ready to accept a trail that they felt it was a good opportunity to apply for this money. Unfortunately, the Tiger program is very competitive. They will be going up against 5 other projects in our region and probably about 500 other projects across the country. But the main point of that is at least the county has put together for the first time a package of building the longest trail that they've ever considered building. And I think that is noteworthy in the county and a sign of progress. Lastly, on a positive note, the Delaware River Heritage Trail has just completed a 3-mile section in Burlington and Fieldsboro. And the planning department is working on a ribbon cutting either late this month or sometime in July. So we hope that the freeholders will be able to adjust their schedules to attend this ribbon cutting ceremony. It's a very important, it's a great statement to say that you support more trail development. And lastly, I would say that open space funds is not a subsidy, it's an investment in our community and our quality of life.
Maria, forgive me in advance, Stravich?
Hi, that's okay. My name is Maria Cambridge. I'm with the New Jersey Conservation Foundation. And I'm here to echo John's sentiments and a lot of the sentiments of people that spoke. I think that it's a mistake to reduce the open space tax. And a few of those reasons are because of reasons that have already been said, and I would like to echo them. John mentioned that the circuit trails alone, that project is estimated to be about $30 million in Burlington County. So when we talk about the open space surplus, I think that's a little bit of a misrepresentation because we have projects. So the circuit trails are $30 million, but there are other trails in the county's open space plan, other acquisitions that can happen in the county's open space plan. So perhaps it's not a surplus, it's a question of what capacity and authorizing those funds to be spent. But with that said, I would like to just point out the fact that I think everyone that knows anything about preservation in New Jersey knows that Burlington County has really been a leader. And I think now is the time to kind of assess that leadership, in the face of state funds that are disappearing, in the face of regional trails grants that are disappearing. This is an opportunity for Burlington County to step up to the plate and to continue its leadership. So I would ask that they do that. That's it. Thank you.
Bill Bolger?
Good evening, Freeholders. Thank you for this opportunity. I bring greetings from 30 people next door. I know that you've created quite an interest here. I'm a private citizen, a homeowner in Mount Holly, current on my taxes. And I wish to say that of all the taxes I pay, the taxes for this program are the one that I value the most. I would gladly see it double because I think the work you're doing is outstanding. I've lived here off and on for 35 years, and I've seen a lot of change. And when I moved from here in the mid-'80s, part of it was that I really was regretting seeing what I consider to be the destruction of the Burlington County landscape, particularly the farms. It was very disturbing. And when I moved back in the late 90s, it was largely due to what I saw happen and the mistake that Burlington County had made to reverse this and to see that the future looked very good. And so I support everything you've heard tonight. I've been very moved by much of it. And I think that The one thing that I would like to encourage you to think about are the people who can't be here tonight. And those would be the citizens of the future. I've lived in a lot of communities, and I've never known one where people regretted the parks that have been created in those communities, where the open spaces have been protected. You know, when Frederick Olmsted laid out 2.5 square miles of New York as a park, there were a lot of people that thought he had lost his mind. But I dare say that if you tried to take that park from New York today, you'd have a civil war in their hands. And of course, one aspect of it is that the most valuable real estate, some of the most valuable real estate in Manhattan, is the landscape surrounding that park. This is a value economically, but it's also more importantly a value of public health. I personally rely on the parks in order to exercise, to keep healthy. And it's a value in so many, many, many ways. So I'll just leave you with that encouragement. And please consider keeping it where it is and going after this program as aggressively as possible over the next few years.
Thank you. Heidi Winzinger.
Hi, my name is Heidi Winzinger, and I'm a third generation Burlington County resident. And I wanted to make a couple of points. I had heard earlier about land prices being cheaper at this point in time. And I think they are generally, but easement prices are cheaper for farmland because farmland is a little more valuable these days, which in turn squeezes an easement value. So you can get more for your money at this point in time. But, and I wanted to disclose that I do clear farmland for my regular day job, but I wanted to bring to you today. Last weekend, I was invited to go up to Lambertville, New Jersey, and don't often get a weekend just to do something fun. And a girlfriend invited me up, but it was specifically to take a bike ride. So we went to Lambertville, stayed at her home, and the next day we got up to take this bike ride on the trail that's there because it's safe, it's fun, and you get to stop at all these little places along the way. And so while I was there, we ate dinner. I went to the liquor store. I went to the drugstore because I forgot my shampoo and shaver. I went to the bike shop because I needed some stuff for my bike. I filled my car up with gas. We had lunch while we were on the trail in Stockton. I went to the farm market because we needed eggs and we needed some produce and some fruit for breakfast. But I spent all my money in Hunterdon County. Because I can't do that here. I can't get from park to park. I am not one of these cyclists that are out on the road and very brave and going to risk my life. I want to be on a safe trail. But I also want to go from place to place to place. And I want to see historic sites. And I want to see things like that. And you spend money when you do that. And I really think that one of the things about the park system here in Burlington County that I see when you go to Hunterdon County, you go to Monmouth County, or you go across the river to Pennsylvania, to Philadelphia, is that you have the ability to do that. And it is an economic development program in another way. You know, it's not bringing in an industry to manufacture something. It's very, very different. And I think it's not a concept that everybody gets, that it is a very big economic development process. And I think that y'all ought to keep on going and finish when it's done and connect these things up and make this really a showplace in Burlington County as far as open space, historic preservation efforts are concerned. And be the freeholders that have the guts to do that and not just go for your tax cut. I think it's more important. The other gentleman said that this is the part of your taxes. You cringe when you see your tax bill. I mean, it's a lot of money. And it's terrible. But that is the tax that I feel the best about. And I think a lot of other people do that didn't get to come here tonight because they didn't know this was happening. Thanks a lot.
Paul Burns.
Thank you, Freeholder for Mount Laurel Township. Just want to say what Heidi said was pretty good. I myself have been a 20-year resident of this area of Mount Laurel, and I'm an avid bike rider. When I do ride bikes, I go to Philadelphia. I have to drive over an hour, and I'm willing to do that because all the things she said, there's places to go, there's things to do, there's trails, and all of that. I spend my money there. I've watched, I lived in Trenton, I lived there in Burlington County. I watched Philadelphia transform itself with that trail that runs from the Art Museum all the way up to Valley Forge. I'm just saying, it's worth it to do this. It's an economic driver. It's something that you need to really consider, and this tax is so price effective. If I give you an analogy, it's like what we have now. You spend all this money so far to acquire all this land for these parks and these trails, and you haven't finished it. It's like the neighbor who starts putting an addition on his house and then stops. It makes everybody look at the tie back for years. So if I can urge you to go ahead and continue this, continue with the farmland, it's have to protect that resource, you have to protect open space. Thank you.
Thank you. Marco Pellegrino.
Hi, I'm Margaret Pellegrino. I live in Medford Lakes. I'm actually an ocean activist. I paddle Miami to Maine, Seattle, San Diego, the Gulf Coast, except for Texas. And I'm also very active and outspoken with national ocean policy. Won't bore you on the details of our particular regional planning body. But one thing that they have decided they're not going to discuss is nearshore water quality areas. We know the Barnegat Bay is basically under attack. It's as bad as the Chesapeake. The Delaware, actually, you know, honestly, I could take you on a paddle from my backyard to the Delaware River. And you can do it, actually. It's really easy on an inflatable stand-up paddleboard, actually. See? I did it. and it's also funny because, you know, I can talk a little bit about how activities such as that will also help this part, that the county slips in the health ranking. You know, someone mentioned already about contaminants, et cetera, from runoff. Non-point source pollution is our biggest source of pollution. Even though we are so far inland from the ocean, what we do inland does affect our downstream neighbors. Burlington County, I have to tell you, I have friends from California and Oregon come to my house, and they are amazed. They're simply amazed at New Jersey, particularly Burlington County. They can't believe it's New Jersey. And I've always been very, you know, proud of my county because I feel like we are very proactive. We've got solar panels, you know, on certain, you know, light poles and stuff, and we do a lot of things. We've been good with, you know, the whole land use. We've been particularly good. I won't say, my honest feeling is that we should double our tax, because if I took you on a trip down our Grand Hookus, it smells every bit as bad as Tom's River. And I know the USGS, because I've pestered them, is right now watching Mantua Creek, different county, lots more population, as much green space as we have. We still need more. And this is going to have a direct bearing on our children's health. I have 2 young children. Land values, businesses. In my paddles, I've been yelled at by small independent business owners because many of their woes have originated upstream.
the dive shop operator who cannot operate his dive shop in July, August, and September because of the algae growth, because of rampant development. There's been success stories too. And nature just needs time to heal. But we have to let it heal. And that means buying up the land that we deem important to have for the water purification. We all know it is a no-brainer. We're fighting science here. And I really implore you to not cut that land use tax. That is so beneficial. And for all you bike riders, you're absolutely right. It's hard to ride safely. I would ride from Medford Lakes to Whole Foods to do my grocery shopping, and I decided it's just not worth the risk. So I now ride in Morton Forest, which is an amazing education in itself, because you look at how industries have changed. This used to be the hub of industry. It was just thriving businesses. They're ghost towns now. We have to adapt, we have to be creative, and we need our open space. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate Close.
My name is Kate Lose. I'm a homeowner. I'm a registered voter in Burlington, New Jersey for 26 years. And this is my first freeholder meeting as well. And I thank you for your work. I know it's not a thankless job a lot of times. I also thank you for the presentation that we had, because I really didn't know what I was coming to this evening. I didn't know what it was about, except that I like open space and I like bicycle trails. My husband and I recently became empty nesters, and it's fantastic because we can do what we want to do. And we ride bikes. But we're not riding them in New Jersey. We come here, we tow the bikes up here, rode out into the farmlands, you know, the roads, what you would call back roads if you're from the city, and people throw bottles at us, they beat their horns, there's no bicycle lanes. I don't want to get hurt. And so we look for trails, but there aren't any long distance trails. So we go to Philadelphia, take the art museum to Valley Forge, stop at the microbrewery along the way, have lunch somewhere, stop at the bicycle shop. We went to Washington, D.C., a very friendly bicycle city last year, stayed at hotels, ate at restaurants, and bicycle. And along the trails, there's like small cottage industries. There's bed and breakfasts, there's little cafes, there's places to buy what you need along the trail, there's campgrounds if you need them. And it's wonderful because you're on a trail and I don't have to worry about getting hit by a car. It's fantastic. And then, last year we took our son and daughter-in-law, we went up to New York to do a long trip distance bicycle trail. They have so many rewards, and it's something that people who have a low income can do. And a bicycle, you can get on the trail, you serve all the citizens. And it refreshes our mental health from the stress that we have at work during the week, and it's just so rewarding. And I truly hope that you will take a look at, what's in that budget. And I have to agree with another woman that spoke earlier. You've got a surplus? That money should be spent. Build these recreational activities that are open for people who don't have any money. Let them go out and take a hike. It doesn't cost anything. This is what we should be doing for ourselves and for our children and our grandchildren. So spend that money, build those trails, and hit those sites, and buy restore those farms. Please, please keep this tax. Thank you.
Chris Ramos.
Hi, Chris Rose, Mount Laurel. This is also my first freeholders meeting. I found out about this morning, so I apologize if I'm not as prepared as many others who have come today. There's been some fantastic talks. I hope you take all that into consideration. I can't bring the facts on the economical or the environmental issues here, but what I can speak from is the social issues. Because my wife and I decided to move to Mount Laurel after doing a search of the of the greater Lake Central, New Jersey area 3.5 years ago. And we chose this area because of the open space projects, because of the lands and the feel that we could get to where we need to go, and that it was moving in a direction that would allow not only us, but my wife, we are expecting our first child, and I want them, however many there end up being, to be here, to be somewhere that they can go for a walk and they can experience the same things that I did and all of you did, and we all want to experience. And if that land goes away, then it could be developed, and it won't be there. We can't recreate these ecosystems once they're gone. So just please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Michael Tam?
Michael Tam, resident of Mount Holly. I've been in Burlington County 53 years. And one of the reasons I came to Burlington County because of the open space and the open areas. I believe that those governing bodies, when they rule on something, it's usually 1, 3, 4, 5 years. And they should be ruling on things that go 10, 20, 30, 50 years down the road. And this is what you should be looking at in the long term. Right now, 10 to 15 years from now, property's not going to be so cheap. And the amount that's being paid now is not going to be, is going to go down a little bit smaller than what it is right now. So I think you ought to think very deeply about this, that you should think for the future, not for today, tomorrow, or next year. That's a mistake. Many governing bodies, whether they're local government, county government, or state government, they make that mistake. They don't think in the long term down the road 10, 20, 30 years. Much of this open space is not going to be available come 10 to 15 years from now, even shorter than that. It's going to be very difficult to acquire. Thanks, Thank you.
Ellen Crawford?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for listening to me. I've been a 20-year resident of Burlington County. I live here in Mount Holly. About 2 years ago, I did a 3-day solo kayak trip from here in Mount Holly to West Philadelphia. And during that time, I saw a lot of beautiful things. By far, the most beautiful stretch of that 3-day trip that I took was through this county. I saw kingfisher, I saw herons, I saw a lot of beautiful things, but what I didn't see was another kayaker on the creek. Because, for the simple reason that there are no public amenities for kayakers on Rancocas Creek, at least not enough, not enough convenient ones. And it occurs to me we often have a 20th century mind view about infrastructure and landscape. And we kind of have to be a little bit more nimble in our thinking, and this is our chance to strike a balance between landscape and infrastructure. And it seems that we have a mandate, and we have seen the voters speak, and that we should keep the tax rate where it is, and let the voice of the people come through, and let's spend this money. Thank you.
Thank you. That exhausts my list. Is there anyone further that wishes to speak with regard to this one here? Thank you.
This is June. I live in Springfield Township. I do not support any reduction in the open space and farmland cultivation area. This tax was fully supported by the taxpaying electorate, not the unsupported. The results of this revenue stream are highlighted Burlington County's top status of land preservation in the state of New Jersey. Burlington County has national recognition for its accomplishments. It is viewed by other states to witness what can be accomplished in a densely populated state of New Jersey. Burlington County's active emphasis on citizen health and well-being as related to parkland development and open vistas by farmland preservation is a draw to people who live and work in Burlington County. the news of less support for parks and farmland will be a psychological letdown, having people having to believe that our county is no longer growing and environmentally sensitive. It will be detrimental to job growth and property values. The land preservation tax is a positive reason to live here. The cost of homeowners' taxes in this county would be better addressed by the people actively petitioning the state to return the energy taxes due and collected by the municipalities to the municipalities, and actively supporting retention of the collected COA funds by municipalities. Both would save millions of taxpayer dollars. As Lake Place prospers, my wife and I enjoy using the beautiful expanded library. Thank you, please. Today's 10-year-old child has more information available on their personal cell phones than the library does. 10-year-olds experiencing his parents at a U-Get farm or in one of the growing number of county finest parks are only available at a physical location. Imagine his dismay if 20 years from now he cannot take his 10-year-old to the same park because it is no longer funded. Freeholder Donald, you want to remain? Why jeopardize our future just for a reduced tax soundbite today when there is need to save more farms and open spaces that may be replaced by electronic tools?
Anyone else with any public comment on the public hearing? Yes, sir.
My name is Chris James. I'm with the New Jersey Conservation Foundation as well. I've been working in this field in Burlington County for 13 years. Our organization has preserved 12,000 acres. We currently own and manage 12,000 acres in this county. And I've had the really good fortune of working with the county staff in open space that whole time. One of the concerns that I have, again, with the surplus is the fact that when I started working with Burlington County back in 2000, is the staff was double what it is now. And so one of the issues is that the surplus is there because the county capacity has increased. And so I think it's important to see that if we match the will of the voters, because the voters of Burlington County have been asked 16 times on the state level to support open space. They're 16 for 16. Only 9 other counties have that right. When they voted in 2006 to extend their existing open space tax, they voted at 75% level. So the support's there. I think we're evident that the folks want this tax. What they didn't want was it to be then leveraged to keep an overall tax rate lower so that it gets chipped away. The other concern I have is that there was, it's true that the existing county open space success has been leveraged with the DOD funds, with the statewide funds, and that's all been successful. Unfortunately, right now, there is no more statewide funding at Green Acres, at Blue Acres, or at the Farmland Preservation Trust. And right now, I believe there's 14 counties that have endorsed the current initiative in Trenton to renew permanent funding. Burlington County is not one of those. So in order to make sure that we have that matching fund, we need all the support that we can get. So at the state level, we can have that matching fund. And lastly, I am concerned about sort of the domino effect of this. As the county funds get reduced, the county funds that then get matched to the municipal level gets reduced as well. Then there's going to be certain, many municipalities already withdrawing their taxes. This may increase that fact. So I would just implore you to listen to the consistent, since 1961, be consistent without one misstep. The word of the voters of Burlington County at a tremendous percentage rate that you keep this in place, and that this is why you live here, and this is why we support these things, because it's one Burlington County stuff.
Thank you. Any further public comment on the hearing? Yes, sir.
My name is Cindy Roberts. I'm a 19-year homeowner in Southampton Township, Burlington County. I'm coming here tonight to ask the board to maintain the existing funding that you have for the program. I think we've heard a lot of reasons why we should do that. I think it's also important to take a look at your open space and farmland plans, because that's the information that was given to the voters. We initially went to them and asked them if they would approve self-taxation, and they overwhelmingly did twice. And it's my understanding from the presentation that those goals haven't been met yet. You've made a lot of progress, but the linkages, the connecting and everything, we've heard a lot of people talk about in order to spend time as adults going to a park is probably fine with families because kids can't really do that. But when you're an active adult, and we need to encourage that due to obesity and health risks of not being an active adult, you want to be able to go places. You want to be able to spend the day outside. And when you're doing that, you're not just spending the time in the park or on the trail. You're also going out and spending money in local businesses. And I think the economic benefits of preserving parks and open space are often lost. A lot of people talk about reducing the number of children, and that is important to reducing costs, but you're also providing a benefit to the economies that the communities that these trails run through. Also, I think people have talked about, and the reality of it is land values are down. So at a time where you can pick up critical pieces, and in particular the linkages that are needed to connect the pieces together, it seems like it would be counterintuitive to want to reduce the amount of money that you have for that. Because I understand that you're going to put some money into the program for each year, but developers are also going to start putting money into restocking their inventory because they haven't bought land in a while, and I think the market showed that that's starting to happen. So if we don't preserve the critical pieces now, we're going to pay way more for them later at a time where the next Freeholder board is going to be looking to balance the budget. The Rancocas Greenway is a perfect example. It's you've made huge progress. I understand there's the hubs. There are a lot of linkages, but the trail doesn't exist. You can't go from place to place along the trail without getting in a car and driving to the next spot. And I think we really want to encourage society not to use the car to get to open space. You want to leave your car at home, when you finally get home, you want to be able to go out, use a sidewalk or a bike path to get to a trail, and then enjoy your time when you're there. Not many of us can work 8 to 9 hour days if you commute or 10, and then go, okay, now I want to go do something. I'm going to drive to a Pine Barrens in order to do it. I guess how I'll end is to ask you, what I heard tonight a lot is about what you've done and about the surplus, but what I didn't hear was the active outreach that's occurring in the county offices to determine what pieces are available in an economy where the climate is good for acquiring land. So rather than cut the tax, for all the reasons you heard, it would make more sense to focus on developing a 5 to 10 year plan in order to bring about all the goals that were written in the farmland and open space plan, so that you can strike while the iron is hot, you can complete your trail system that you started, and you can start bringing some of the people that go to Philadelphia, and I'm one of them, or that go north beyond the Delaware Canal system.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Jacqueline Rhodes, I'm with Pinelands Preservation Alliance. We're an organization that is a resident in Burlington County. We're located in Southampton. Our organization is housed in a 1753 farmhouse, preserved through all the programs that the public here today sees vital. It's also on 13 acres of what was once premium farmland that's now converted to Graceland habitat. And we're also a member of a large coalition called Keep the Green that consists of 180 members representing diverse interests throughout the state, supporting an effort for the past couple of years for state level funding for open space farmland and historic preservation in the state. As Christian had mentioned to you, there have been 14, and actually it's 15 counties now that have passed resolutions. That leaves only 6 left in the entire state of New Jersey that have yet to pass a resolution stating their support for sustainable funding for all these programs. Not only are they saying we need state funding that will last, 20, 30 years, and they're looking to the future, but also supporting the local ability to match those funds. I think, as everyone has expressed tonight, it is critical that we see any financial problems as opportunities. I think some of the major corporations started out at a time when there was a recession, because they used that opportunity to garner the funds together, go out there, secure whatever assets they want to secure, because they knew at a time nobody else was doing that. You have the opportunity to continue that legacy here tonight by retaining the tax, by using that to support state funds, and use that to continue that legacy forward, because the public has said they want it that way. So I see this as an opportunity. I know it's hard to decide what things you value, but I think the public has shown you what they value and why they want to live in this county, as do our organization at Highlands and all the other coalition members that represent. So I brought with me tonight a copy of the resolution that is passed throughout 15 counties throughout the state, and I hope that I would use this opportunity as well to say to the state, we're going to match the efforts that you're going to put forward hopefully in the next couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment on public hearing? Yes, sir. No.
Hello, Freeholder, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Richardson. I'm a resident of Burlington City. I'm on the Environmental Commission there, and in our 1 square mile little community, we have a few spaces of, or pockets of open space, which for our small community, it's amazing that within our little town, we can still find these spaces next to the river, next to Crosswoods Creeks, and go down within a 3 or 5 minute walk and enjoy these spaces. As a father, I can take my 2 young children down there to enjoy. So I want to applaud the effort so far. As also as a member of a local CSA, community-supported agriculture on a preserved farm, 10 minutes from my house, I'm able to enjoy local produced organic produce. And as a teacher, 7th grade teacher in Pemberton, I'm also able to take my students to these places, the North Branch Preserve, get the kids out there and show them, hey, this is where you live, and this is the natural area, and this is the value of it. So I want to applaud the efforts and advances that have been made so far in these areas, but I also want to encourage you, it's not broke. Let's keep it where it's at, and let's continue this positive movement, and maybe focus on some areas that need fixing. This is good, so I think you should let it be.
Thank you. Any further public comment on the public hearing? Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was stuck in the other room as well. I was listening to everybody, and I didn't know that I was really going to say anything. I know you guys were going to be here a long time. Dwayne Belton, Mount Holly, New Jersey. I know you're going to be here a long time, and I'm going to make it brief, but listening to a couple of things that people have said, in a town that has put forth many referendums, and all of them fail, I know how important it is to get it past a referendum. You've gotten it on this tax, and I just encourage you, and whoever supported it and continues to support it, to please continue to do that. The parks are important. I have young kids. We enjoy all of them. And I heard people talk about the bikes as well. And we go up to Washington's Crossing and ride the canals because we don't have that here. And I would encourage you guys to just to try to bring some of that to Burlington County. But keep up the good work. You're doing a great job. And again, coming from a town that has put forth many referendums and they all failed. You've had one that has passed. And we'll just take advantage of it. I hate to pay taxes, but this is one that makes sense. So thank you. And you guys are doing a great job with all the park systems. Thanks.
Thank you.
My
name is Kathleen Rust. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the Land Compass Conservancy. We are a land trust headquartered in Burlington County. I would beg you, as a member of the board, to continue this tax. It is critical that we are able to preserve the land in Burlington County. As a kayaker, I beg you to keep the land preserved so that the water is clean, that we can use the facilities that are available to us here. It is critically important for the quality of the water that this land is preserved and not developed. And we must continue this, not for me, not for my nieces and nephews, not for my great nieces and nephews, but for children who are going to be here 40, 50 years from now. It is critical. The voters have said that they want to keep this tax. Let's keep it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment on the public hearing? Yes, ma'am.
Kathleen Huffman from Morristown. I'm a transplant to Burlington County, but I've family who lived here for years. I think you need to listen to the mandated people. I don't know how many people come to very many of these freeholder meetings, but I think the amount you have here tonight indicates that the public does not want to see this tax change. We voted for it. We want it kept in place. We want it used as we would like it used, for the preservation of farmland, for the quality of life, which is something that's very important to us, I think, in this county. The quality of life is important, and no matter what numbers you play with or do whatever, I think the mandate is here tonight that you keep the tax in place. Thank you. And thank you for your time servicing the county.
Thank you. Any further public comment on the public hearing? Going once? I'm going to close this portion of the meeting to the public. With the indulgence of my colleagues. Now, I am going to, because we're not going to vote this in the consent, so I'm going to remove resolution number 10 from the consent agenda and relocate it up to now, quite frankly, rather than go to public comment on agenda items. So I've made that motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Is it clear what I've asked? No, discussion of the motion. Is it clear what I've asked? All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. The resolution now is on the table for discussion. That's resolution number 10. Got that, Gina? Any comment from the board?
I have a comment. So I'm going to reserve this for the end of tonight's meeting. I think it's imperative to do it now, especially if it will sort of change the opinions of any of the board members that I serve with. So let me just give a little story quick. When I was coming here tonight, my husband, I was talking to him on my way to the meeting tonight, and he said, "Oh, do you think the Lorax is going to show up at tonight's meeting?" And I laughed a little bit. But I think that really happened tonight. I mean, if anybody knows the Dr. Seuss story about the Lorax who's in favor of saving the trees, I don't have it memorized, but I read it many times. You know, I think that spirit was really emphasized with the comment that we had from folks tonight. And I was very pleased to hear from all the people who took time out of their evening to come here to share their thoughts with us tonight. So first and foremost, while I would not be opposed to taking a hard analytical look at our open space program to ensure that we are accomplishing our established open space goals as responsibly as possible, I am not convinced that the proposed funding cut of more than 50% from the voter-approved 4 cents to 1.5 cents is based on sound evidence that establishes the sustainability of the county's open space goals through 2018 and beyond. Most troubling to me is the fact that it is claimed that we have a $48 million balance. However, my review of the budget that's proposed for introduction tonight on sheet 3D4 establishes that we actually have $73,554,634 amount in farmland and open space debt, far exceeding the $48 million balance that must be paid off. Moreover, I feel that even if we do have a balance, we need to look to do more with that balance, as I think was expressed by so many people here this evening. Additionally, although it was represented to me both in my meeting on on the budget process, as well as I think it came across in the Courier Post. I'm not sure if it was correctly demonstrated there or not, or represented there. But I think that there was a representation that this funding would not last more than a year. However, I see no evidence to establish that this is in fact the case, and this is further troubling to me. The open space, farmland, and historic preservation plans as currently adopted extend to 2018, 5 years from now. I think it would be irresponsible not to heed our duty of proceeding with funding that considers the open space, farmland, and historic preservation plans into 2018 and beyond as has been adopted. I don't want to drag this on too long, so I'll just close by saying that open space, farmland, and historic preservation are a true pride for us here in Burlington County. I think that was expressed over and over again tonight. Not only tonight, but also by the people who have voted for open space here in Burlington County again and again. I did not hear one person tonight that came out and spoke in favor of reducing this tax, and I think that that's very telling. I'm fearful that we're going to travel down a path that we cannot return should we slash this funding, and this would be a true loss to the residents of Burlington County. And so with that, I would implore to the other members of this board to please reconsider, perhaps table this motion tonight if need be for further evaluation, but don't proceed in this fashion. I think the people have spoken tonight. I think we need to listen to them.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes. I moved to Mount Laurel in 1976, and perhaps the farmers here remember Roger Sharp. Roger's farm was across the road from me when I moved in. It's all peach orchards. Remember that? I used to get up in the morning and could hear Roger's cows. I was on the emergency squad with Roger for many years.
And his brother Harold.
And his brother Harold. But Harold used to come by my property and plow in the north for me for my garden in the back. Mount Laurel grew up around us. It was quite disgusting. All the residents in Mount Laurel, remember what it was like. It was peach orchards, it was farms. It was wonderful. In those days, I was also one of the founding members and one of the original board members of the Rancocas Nature Center. I don't have prepared remarks. I just have remarks from my heart. I live now in Southampton up the dirt road. I have a deer coming by. I can't see that happen. To what happened to Mount Laurel, I cannot allow that to happen to the rest of the county. I'm very dismayed and upset over this move, and I think enough said.
Thank you. Anyone else?
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out because I think it does need to be spoken about. But the way that I see it is the county is still going to be doing business as usual. We have $48 million. We just gave approval tonight for about 170 letters to go out tomorrow to farms in Burlington County that qualify for our land purchase project. Right, Mary? Farm organization, about 170. Last year we probably sent out 185, and we got 7 responses. Now, you can't force people to sell their land. They have to want to be able to become involved in the program. And hopefully, every year we look to probably do 10 to 15, but maybe we'll get 7 again this year. It's about a year-long process that goes through. So, the farmland preservation people that we have here in the county have taken the time to identify all the farmlands. So that's ongoing, number one. Number two, I spent time before I came to the board in Evesham Township. I was one of the people that helped John Volpa get the Black Run Preserve underway, where we have a bunch of old cranberry bogs down there in town. When you go back, you never probably knew they were in Marlton. And we took the time to map out areas where we have a series of connections of pathways through there. It takes time. It took about 2 years to get it done. Since that time, and I've left, the township has also added to that particular project. So we're taking a look at farmland preservation, we're taking a look at parks and recreation. I mean, I'm a huge proponent. However, there's always a however. I looked at going forward with $48 million in surplus that we can continue over the next few years to do business as normal. I think what people are forgetting is that there are quite a few other people that live in Burlington County that also depend on us to be able to keep things going. It's a huge thing. So we can't shirk our responsibility to everybody else. However, we can and we will continue to work on our county park system, preserve farms, land, open space, continue to do whatever we can, go for grants, get money to be able to finish that trail system. But at the end of the day, we still have to be responsible. So I see this as moving forward, maybe just a temporary situation. I don't know. Because I know what we do is last year at the same time we reviewed this. And we voted to keep it at 4 cents. This year we're reviewing it and we put forth this resolution. And I'm sure the director will cover this probably as well. By statute, you have to review this every single year. And that's what we're doing.
And the Freeholder Director Donnelly had remarks prepared on this.
Oh, no.
They're right there, so I don't want to belabor any points you may be making, but I just want to reiterate one piece of information that, one, this is by law, we must set this rate every year, and that it will be revisited every year in periods of time. By law, we are authorized by the voters to set the rate between 0 and 4 cents. And that with this current proposal, we are not only maintaining every portion of our farmland and open space program, but we are expanding, we are adding to, through our, as we stated, the approval of going out again for the next year of farmland preservation. We have 7 farms in the pipeline. We are adding the Mount Holly Library to our system, and we're entering into an agreement with the we have entered into an agreement with the Ranco's Nature Preserve. So we are extremely committed to the open space programs in Burlington County, and this year we are not only able to do our commitments, but we are able to expand them by setting this tax rate. But thank you for coming out this evening. It is very important part of the dialogue that will continue every week.
Good evening, everyone. $48 million, I think we'd all have to admit, is a heck of a lot of money, and we'd all like to have a piece of that for either our interest, or our farm, or in our personal lives. We have a commitment here to balance the needs. We look at what we have succeeded in doing, both this board and its predecessor boards, in farmland preservation, in open space preservation, in parks development, and in historical work. And it's a pretty significant accomplishment. And quite frankly, our predecessors have done far more than we have ever accomplished, because we are much newer to the board. The statistics are pretty impressive. A couple pieces of things I do want to clear up is, in fact, that this would have to be voted each and every year. You know, Roger and Fritz had said something, well, maybe this was a 2-year thing. We have to take this step on an annual basis to evaluate the tax, which is been said by others. So that's where we are this year. We're evaluating the 2013 situation. With $48 million in the bank, we have an excess of funds in terms of the programs that we need for the next few years out there. We typically spend around $19 million, Mary Pat, correct? On an annual basis. This year, our budget is for $22.5 million to be spent on all of our programs across the board. It will impact that surplus number by roughly $12 million. This time next year, the board this year will gather and discuss what they should do moving forward. heard a comment earlier that the tax will never go up. But this board may not vote to do that. I find that troubling, in that this board has been tasked with making several difficult decisions, at least over my tenure here for 6 years, and the other board members, shorter than that, have been tasked with making several difficult decisions. If in fact they can't vote to preserve what is the premier program and to expand what is the premier program in the state of New Jersey, if not one of the premier programs in the United States, then I would say shame on my colleagues if that, in that point in time, when that comes. But today, I for one, we will vote this, but I for one feel that we have a surplus, that we need to reduce the burden on our taxpayers. We represent all 450,000 residents of this county, and a lot of them need tax relief right now, knowing that we can make this program continue, and we are expansionary this year. We could be expansionary next year without impacting a single program, but impacting the lives of the residents of this county. I feel compelled to represent all 450,000 residents. At this time, I will entertain a motion. I will actually move the motion on resolution number 10. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Donnelly, seconded by Freeholder Howard. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstentions? Resolution is adopted.
Joe Muscat.
Take a break. We'll adjourn for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Melody Canfield Castro. Okay. Anyone seeking to make public comment on agenda items, Louis?
Freeholder of Burlington County. My name is Louis Northrup. I'm a Mahat resident. My first question is, if you as a veteran, I would like to have you a video to the May 8th, May 22, and today's meeting. It's going to be a YouTube video that starts with a capital J, tags with a capital E. Or my email is jessica.tag1@gmail.com. If you want to see full-length video on custom. My second question is, can you clarify 5 and 6?
It's a resolution that authorizes to either accept bids or reject bids. Mr. Troy, do you have any specific?
There was one contract that was awarded. It was for the transportation of wastewater. In the amount for $1,158,150.
6, I mean, quite simply what it says, it gives us the authority to create a pool of energy consultants. So when we have an energy savings type project, and we require a consultant on the project, we now have a certified list of firms that are qualified to do that work.
Question number 12.
This is a boilerplate agreement for the Workforce Investment Act training program, and it's administered through the One Stop Career Center, and it allows them to have boilerplate materials on hand to work with prospective vendors, and so they are able to provide training services for potential employees.
Question 21.
Let's see here. This is a change order from Edwards Craig, the amount of $9,556. It's a decrease. And we have a project which is the Burlington County Safety Project. It's a phase 2 project. Is that one of the circles, Joe?
No, it's one of our traffic safety projects, normally our intersections and our fiber optics. The project's been completed, and as you stated, the amount of contracts being reduced by almost $10,000, and it would also be setting the acceptance date of the project.
And final one on number 22.
It has to do with the same project.
That's what number
Except that's a
8.
decrease of $20,000.
For number 8, after that, I did a big posted. last time for election for the public service, that I think need paper out. The same person who applied for it, who you should have on record, that one I emailed like several months ago. That's one the beginning of the year that I want to apply for public service. Hopefully you consider me. Like I said, any case do me a favor. If I give any credit, you don't fight me. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Any further public comment on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Mr. Love, Edward, New Jersey. First of all, I want to commend you for. Thank you. First of all, I want to commend you for putting out the entire county taxes. This related to the budget item here, so I'm addressing that. Because I've always said in the past that really we have to know what the full McGill is as far as the open space, the library, and this and that. So I commend you to do that. Hopefully you're going to do that from here on out.
Dad?
Yes.
It's funny, your name came up when we were crafting the budget about the fact that we bring all the taxes together in one big. Talk to Ralph, it's funny, we mentioned these specifically, that this has been one of your things, and quite frankly, it's a more holistic way of looking at it, and he will, if I'm here in the future, which according to what, I'm not going to be here in the future, but if I'm here in the future, that would be something.
That was me.
I do appreciate it. And I think the other thing is before the budget is released, that, as I mentioned earlier, the county tax rate is only a notional item. Okay? We have a county tax rate on our bill, but it's based on our local assessment. So I hope before you finalize the budget, you will at least let every town know what their share of the tax increase or decrease will be, because as we all know, some towns will go up and some towns will go down, and at least gives everybody an idea. If I live in Medford, my taxes will go up in the county, or so I think it's only fair that we do that instead of using the county tax rate. I won't belabor that too much. The other thing is, as far as budget planning is concerned, one of the things I tried to look at today, and it's not on there yet, is the 2012 audit. Now, I know by law it doesn't have to come out until June, but guys, it's why bother? All right, I'm talking about the 2012 now audit, because that can help you really plan. Any business, I don't care whether you're a small business or whatever, you have to have your audit done, for the banks or whomever, within 90 days. Your SEC corporation, 90 days. It's almost a waste of money to have it midway through the year to have the audit out, because that way we can look at the actual expenses for 2012 instead of looking at budget to budget or appropriations unencumbered and all this. So I am suggesting that in the budget planning process, how about next year, okay, you can tell Bowman and wherever the auditors are, look, we want it done in 90 days. It's reasonable. I know the law would extend that, but I just don't see that at all. The other thing is, when I read I'm all for transparency and getting out what the things should be. And when I read in the paper today that the chief financial officer stated that the county was going to lose $7.5 million in revenue this year because the gradables are down $2 billion or something. I don't think it works that way. Because you don't bill me personally, you don't bill any businesses personally. All right? The way the levy is set is basically you take your spending, you look at what surplus you're going to have, and you look at the miscellaneous revenues. So that's what's really going to set it. So it's spending, miscellaneous revenues, and surplus that comes up with a levy. It has nothing to do with really the ratables that are out there. So I would hope that in your public releases and in your budget message, you don't say you lost $7.5 million in revenue, because I don't think that's an accurate statement. So that's a comment I want to throw out there. I think there's a little misconception there that the ratables, because we know that the ratables that you have at the county level, in order to come up with the county tax rates, are based on the equalized rates, which are based on house sales and everything else. They have no correlation at all to our individual assessments. And so that's what's important. So I do want to appreciate the fact again that you laid everything out this year. All right, we'll be looking forward to take a look at the budget. I know that there's a $5 million planned increase. I don't know why yet, but it's obviously not accurate. So with that, and the one last thing on the open space, I remember somebody once said, buy land, not make it any more of it. So, and I'll part one last thing, Mr. Donnelly. When you do look at my chart, although it looks like it's going to be a little increase this year, since you've been here, and I'll say this, the taxes have come down. Not quite at the $25 million reduction yet,
This year,
but they have come down. This year they might go up a little bit, but at least the trend recently, has been favorable along those lines. Thank you.
Any further public comment on agenda items? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Jim Camp, Airport Township. I came before you a few meetings ago, discussion of the mosquito treatment and my concern with CAMPOS, the use of spray damage and its use. And you referred me to the Board of Health and the folks in the mosquito control program. And I did meet with them, and they were most helpful, providing a little information. But I noted that I think you were actually talking about funding that drug or that pesticide. And so I just felt I needed to come back up. I know it's a small item, but I think it's an important item. The facts still remain. CAMPOS has been used in the county since the 1970s. The facts remain that studies have shown that the efficacy of this pesticide drops off drastically after years of use. So we're not getting the bang for our buck. We're just dumping a pesticide in our in standing water that's killing actually beneficial life that actually eats mosquito larvae, but is really not doing much to help the problem, because, as I said, if you remember, the graph shows that it drops off, its effectiveness drops off tremendously. To me, the most important part of this is most of your mosquito complaints are about the Asian tiger mosquito, which is the one that covers West Nile virus, which is the main vector of West Nile virus. And that is not affected by the use of this pesticide at all, because this is the one that's found in people's backyards and their flower pots and their gutters when they aren't clean. You would be better off spending the money, diverting it from TMFOS or Abate, and putting that into educating the residents of this town of how to avoid breeding the Asian tiger mosquito, which is the one that they are complaining about. To me, it's common sense. You're throwing good dollars, and you're really not getting the return that you need. And it's not a lot of money, but it's still money. You are using BTI, you're using mineral oil. Those are all effective in suppressing mosquito populations. You're using them in hand sprays. It's a very good and appropriate way to do it. But the use of this drug, I just don't see how you're getting anything out of this except to say that you're spraying a pesticide, and it's not effective. Thank you.
I don't want to speak for Colonel Schwartz or Eve, but my recommendation is to explore alternatives.
I was going to move to have this removed from the consent agenda.
It's your resolution, it's not mine. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further public comment? Yes, sir.
The introduction of the 2013 budget, how much money did the Bridge Commission award the county in this budget?
They didn't award us anything. They're reimbursing us for the maintenance of their approaches. $3 million.
So they've given you $3 million last year?
To the best of my recollection.
Okay, and then it was $2 million before that?
To the best of my recollection.
Number 7, approval for the execution agreement between the prosecutor and assistant prosecutors. This does not include the detectives and the investigators, but the court said it should pay 25%. They're
No,
not
this is for the
included.
assistant prosecutor.
Okay, so they're not included in this.
Only the assistant prosecutor.
Okay. Okay, number 12 and number 13. All right, that's number 12. Cost and who will develop this boilerplate agreement? That's on number 12 and 13. I thought before they had a boilerplate.
I thought one of the assistant.
Yes.
We're going out to add to the approved list, and we are reworking, from my understanding, the boilerplate agreement that is involved so that we can be more effective in building the list.
Okay, so is that an in-house function?
Building the list.
Yeah. Developing the boilerplate agreement.
I believe it is an in-house function, and Anna concurs it is an in-house function.
Number 14, the loan approved for Mission First Housing and for soft cost explained. The amount, corporations that act as developer for Burlington senior apartments in the amount of $540,000 for soft costs, partially funded construction. What are the soft costs, and in the event that anything should happen, could we recoup those costs because they're no longer an asset?
Is this under the home program? It is under the home program, so we will be no lower than second lien position, is that correct? On all home loan program funds. So we are guaranteed the money.
On the soft money, you're guaranteed that money.
We are in second lien position.
Yes, and more than fully secure on the project.
All right, number 19, agreement with various forensic pathologists. My question, are these pathologists at the current pool of professionals?
We, at our last meeting, passed a resolution to create the pool, and this is just going to adopt the agreement.
Number 20, how much money has the county spent on this site to date? And what that is for the remediation system, procurement installation for Burlington County Highway Garage number 9, which is on Maple Avenue, because that was ongoing 3 years when I was here. So how much money has the county spent?
The current budget for the remediation system is $500,000. I do not know what has been historically spent.
We don't know. We know.
On this change order number 21 and 22, this McCray, is that the first and only change order? The reductions? These contracts?
I don't know, Joe, is it first, or the second?
I'm going to say based on the wording that it is the only change order.
Right. Probably because it's at the end of the job and it's giving us money back, correct?
That's correct.
So you don't know if it is or it isn't the only change? I thought I remember them making.
Well, normally when you have change orders,
Yeah, for increases.
increases.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if I'm getting a change order at the end for a decrease, that's a good thing.
Okay, initially, what I'm trying to get at is, why was it reduced? Was it due to man hours? Was it due to changes in the contract?
Could have been
Was it,
anything. All of those things, all of the above.
you don't know. This number 24 is the condemnation proceedings, easements, and acquisition. This is in Medford. In here it states Department, Road Wilkinson and Roads. It's new work. What is new work? What's performed?
Is that in relationship with the bridge, Joe?
No, this is, I believe this is for the Wilkins Road
Where does it say
project.
new work?
Yeah, New Freedom Road.
No, it's actually the
Freedom
public
Road.
works. Is it that intersection that we already did, or are you doing something else?
Freeholder?
Yeah, please.
I believe that this is an old acquisition that we could not contact the owner. We finally tracked down the owner and are now trying to clean that up. But yes, the work has already been completed.
Okay, so are they in agreement or you're condemning it? Did they agree with us?
I think we have difficulty. We have difficulty locating the true owner.
This is a homeowners association that isn't approved exhibit. This is actually authorizing accommodation. We've been making efforts for a long time.
But he said you did contact them, so they're in agreement with
I
this?
did not say that.
Well, then what did you say?
I said the project's been completed, and that this has been someone that they've been trying to get a hold of for a long time.
We don't ride by for 5 minutes.
All right, sir, just a moment. Renwick and Associates, number 26, service to be provided. I can't help it if you eat into my time because you don't know the answers to my questions.
Submitted in writing.
I say, you want me to submit them in writing and not publicly, is that what you're telling me?
If you don't have the time, submit the rest of them in writing. It's a reasonable request.
The Renwick Associates, what would that service be provided for? The traffic
The
signal?
relocation of the traffic signal at the intersection of Grand Cocos Road and County Route 541.
He's an appraiser, I know that. So is he moving the traffic light or what is his service being provided?
He doesn't approve traffic lights, he's probably approving the piece of land, appraising the piece of land in which the traffic signal would be located.
That's what I asked you. Thank you. I will be back when it comes to public.
Any further public comment on agenda items? Hearing none, I'll close the portion of the meeting to the public, and I will now move the next resolution items numbers 1 through 9. Moved by Donnelly, seconded by Freeholder Howard. Any comments?
Yeah, if I could just make a motion to remove items number 2 and 3.
Is there a second for the, I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to remove items 2 and 3, so indicate by saying aye. Aye.
And I'd also like to remove items number 8.
Well, can we go through this motion first?
Sorry.
All in favor, so indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, 2 and 3 are removed. Freeholder Schwartz?
To remove also number 8 and number 31 for discussion.
Well, I can't do 31, that's not mine. I'll
Okay.
only do 8. I'm only moving my portion of the agenda.
All right.
Okay, so Freeholder Schwartz has moved to remove item 8 from the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Schwartz, second by Freeholder Bellegarde. Any discussion? All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Time is yours, Freeholder Bellegarde.
Okay, this shouldn't take too long. For the number 2 introduction of the budget, Mr. Nelson, I just wanted to confirm that we're not actually approving the budget, it's just this vote is just to introduce it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's introduced and advertised up to the date of the set.
Yeah, July 10th, I think?
Right, I'd like to speak to that actually. All tonight does is allow the board to consider the budget. This is the vetting process that will last up through and including July 10th, assuming that there is a vote that takes place on July 10th. So this is simply the beginning of the process.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm it for myself because I know that the resolution does have the word approved, and I just needed to make sure that we're just approving to introduce. Yeah,
Right.
okay, great. And then I just also wanted to confirm with Mr. Krasson that we're gonna have the budget that doesn't have some of the X's in it.
Yes.
I know some of these numbers need to be filled in from what I have from the other day.
As I mentioned to you prior to the meeting,
Yeah.
you have a copy that we had discussed about a week ago, and that we do have current copies, and those copies will be on the website, and I'd tell them, make sure you get a hard copy tonight
That'd be excellent.
without the X's in it.
Very good, thank you very much. That's all I have on number 2.
Move to 3.
Okay. Mr. Troy, I'm not going to be long tonight. Short and sweet. So on page number 41, if you look halfway down, there were a couple of these, so let me just do this all in one foul swoop. On page 41, about halfway down, there is an entry for Garden State Discovery Museum. And I noticed a couple other museums and things of the like with membership passes. What exactly is that for?
This is on behalf of the library, right?
The museum has covered at the library where we purchase the tickets involved and then we allow them to circulate to our customers.
Okay, great, thank you. That's sort of under the same realm there. Page 56, about halfway down, couldn't quite figure out what this was. For professional services, Lammy and Giorgio, I don't know if I'm saying
That's
that
what we
name right.
discussed last time. That's a single point of entry.
I have like a stinging point in my brain that I can't remember.
I got
Okay,
that one for us.
thank you. page 80, the top entry, professional services, Canoni and Associates. Can you tell me what that's for?
This is the field testing and project management for the Delaware River Heritage Trail.
And that'll do it for me.
And I have a couple, I'll go quick. One page, and I may have asked you this before, but please refresh my memory. Page 14, with Buckhorn and Horn, I can't remember what they do.
They're an engineering firm.
Engineering firm? And what project are they working on?
This is the Perry Boulevard and Bridgeville Pike improvements.
I did ask that one last year.
I told you, so it was a long night. And then on page 16, could we discuss the $4,700,000 plus allocation to the Burlington County Institute of Technology?
Yes, Freeholder, this is the payments we made to the BCIT for a total of $15.8 million. These are the monthly payments that we made.
So this adds up, at the end of the year, it'll add up to 15 mil?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think that's, oh, just one last thing. On 120, We Care Organics, 87,000. Is that a recurring bill, or is this just a one-shot deal? It says it's for the county co-ops. Is that's what I'm saying, is this something each month, or is this?
I don't know, is it each month?
Yes.
It is each month.
That's each month. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Move to number 8, please.
Sorry.
You have questions on the 8, Freeholder?
On number 8, yes, if Dan could explain what positions were created and abolished. You know, that's one every month, we ask you this every month.
No problem.
Okay, we were actually pretty busy for the past month or so. Looks like we're creating and abolishing positions in 8 different departments, starting with the finance department. We're abolishing the fiscal analyst, creating a principal auditor, and we're moving 2 jobs to other departments where they're better suited. I'll get back to that. In the health department, we're creating a supervising environmental health specialist and abolishing a senior environmental health specialist. We're promoting somebody into the role of a division manager because we had a vacancy in the spring. We have a number of changes in the Department of Human Services. We're creating a site manager full-time for the nutrition program, and we're abolishing the keyboard and clerk 3 as a full-time position, so we're swapping that with a position of coordinator of community health services, which we're recreating. And with, we're creating a senior accountant, abolishing an accounting assistant because we want to upgrade. We have a great candidate for that position. We want to upgrade to the senior accountant position in that division. And in Veteran Services Office, we're downgrading the keyboarding clerk 2 to an entry-level keyboarding clerk 1. Within information technology, we're creating a record support technician 4 and abolishing the higher-level records manager position. We're also creating a communication system technician 3, and abolishing a computer service technician title that we no longer use. It's kind of antiquated for our needs. We're also moving the supervising computer operator out of information technology and over to the superintendent of elections, because that's primarily where she does a chunk of her work. Within the jail, we're creating one account clerk position, being the position is being transferred from the finance office. In public safety, we are creating a public safety telecommunicator trainee and 911 operator trainee, and abolishing a 911 operator position, so we're downgrading it and replacing it with somebody that's a trainee. And we're abolishing a confidential assistant position. Public Works, we're creating an administrative analyst to accept the other position being transferred from the finance department.
Okay, and do you know the impact on the fiscal impact? Are we going to be staying the same, more money, it's going to cost us more money, or are we going to?
Overall, with all these positions, I don't have the exact detail, but it's going to just save us money. It's not going to cost us more in budget.
So even though we're increasing some people's salary, wash out with what's become tax?
Yes.
And nobody's been laid off?
Nobody's being laid off
Okay,
as
got
a
it,
result of
sir.
these changes.
Okay.
Anything further, Freeholder?
Nope.
Okay, this time, numbers 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 have been moved and seconded. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Looking for a motion on the resolutions. I'll move resolutions number 2 and number 3. Moved by Freeholder Donnelly, seconded by Freeholder Howard. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolutions are adopted. At this time, I'll move for resolution number 8. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Donnelly, seconded by Freeholder Howard. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolutions are adopted. Freeholder Harder.
At this time, I'd like to move for unanimous consent, items numbered 11 through 18.
Thank you. Moved by Freeholder Harder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Freeholder Howard. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolutions are adopted. Freeholder Belgard.
I would like to move for consent, item number 19.
Thank you. Moved by Freeholder Belgard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Freeholder Howard. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution is adopted. Freeholder Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Director. At this time, I'd like to move by unanimous consent, resolution 20 through 29.
Thank you. Moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Freeholder Harder. Any discussion?
I would like to move to remove from the consent agenda, item number 24.
Is there a second?
Anybody?
Oh, second.
Second, sorry.
Moved by Freeholder Belgard, seconded by Freeholder Howard. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, resolution 24 has been removed.
Yeah, so I just needed a little bit more information on this because I know that this was discussed before Joanne and I got onto the Freeholder board, and I'm not sure that I fully understand the impact of this, or whether this property is actually being condemned, or for what reason.
It's a reconfiguration of an intersection, a problem intersection, that was bringing comment on that. There was a small number of, I believe there were townhouses, condo situation there. There was a homeowners association created. On the books, on the tax rolls, didn't pay any taxes for the common areas. We sought to negotiate to acquire easements there. There's nobody in contact. There was just no response.
Can't negotiate with nobody.
Can't negotiate with nobody. We negotiated, we found most of the house, there was nobody there to start that homeowners association. I think of the previous owners or something. And at this point, we're trying to move the matter forward to clean up the title. The work is essentially done. We're just trying to end up with a clean situation so that future boards are not looking at something that was done incomplete. So now, I'd be happy to speak to Mr. Buck, who actually knows this part of the job in our department. Reach out, or email out a conference call with you to go over this in as much detail as you want.
Yeah, no, I think your answer satisfies me. If I can have a follow-up, I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
Okay, this time, resolutions number 20 through 23 and 25 through 29 have been moved and seconded. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Resolutions are adopted.
This time, I'd like to bring introduce resolution number 24.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Howard, seconded by Freeholder Harder. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolutions are adopted. Freeholder Schwartz.
This time I'd like to move for unanimous consent, item number 30, but I'd also like to have 31 removed for further discussion. 31 removed from unanimous consent.
Take
Even
one
though-
at a time.
Yes, can you take them on?
Sure.
All right, we'll go to any
It's a long,
discussion?
like I said, it's been a long night.
Resolution 30 has been moved by Freeholder Schwartz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Belgard. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution is adopted. Freeholder Schwartz, is there something you'd like to say about resolution number 31?
Yes, finally. I also did some research on the bid.
No, you haven't moved it out. Oh, doesn't matter, you only have two.
I do this to him all the time.
Talk. Talk amongst yourselves.
Jim and I did have some discussions with the health department about the use of the bait, and I did some research on it also. And it does not, from the research I see, it does not kill tiger mosquitoes, which is the prime vector for West Nile, but it does kill tadpoles, which eat the good mosquitoes. Also, its efficiency, yeah, you know what it is. Its efficacy, that too, decreases over time. Now, I understand who's here from the health department, that we're going to, I think we have a contract use it for the next 2 years, is that
Actually,
correct?
we had a very nice meeting with the mayor, and we outlined our plan to phase it out in 2014. That's when it's going to be discontinued, and we're currently evaluating our products. And the one thing that we did focus on was the fact that this is not being used, this is not our only source, this is only being used through our helicopter application. This is not being used in residential areas by any means. This is just over the water areas in, for example, this.
I'd like for you to take a look and see if we can remove it as a pesticide sooner. We could even, I really don't even like us finishing out this year, but I'm willing to make that compromise. I'd like to see if this not used in 2014.
We can evaluate that, and tonight's item on the agenda is to purchase the application for the helicopter. We would need, to ensure that there's no public health risk for, as far as disease prevention.
Right, and we did that, by thinking about the environmental impact on wildlife, and the fact that it does nothing for West Nile. Thank you. That's it.
You gotta tell me what you want to do.
Are you moving it or not, Jody?
Let's see. I think I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Schwartz, is there a second? Second. Second by Freeholder Howard. Any further discussion? Thankfully, no. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution is adopted. There exists a need for a nomination election for the Board of Social Services. Are there any nominations? I will open the floor.
Yes, Freeholder Director, at this time, I'd like to nominate Reverend Dr. David B. Yost to another term of service on the Board of Social Services, and I'd also like to nominate Christine Berman, who is with us this evening, and for a term on the Board of Social Services.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nomination process. How do we proceed with this? Roll call vote based upon name, correct? Please proceed with roll call vote based upon name.
Freeholder Arthur.
Berman and Yost.
Freeholder Belvoir.
Berman and Yost.
Freeholder Howard.
Berman and Yost.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Berman and Yost.
And Freeholder Director Dodd.
German and Yost. Sounds like a law. Congratulations. Thank you for serving. Questions from the press? They're gone, right? I'm a podium. They knew to get on. At this time, we'll open the meeting to public comment. I'm going to go back through the list because there are those that have waited patiently here for some nearly 3 hours. Mr. Malanis.
Yes, sir. Coming. Dear Director, and the Board of Freeholders, I came here 2 or 3 meetings before, and I complained still there. Said too many people killing themselves in the service. And we teach them, kill, kill, kill. But we don't find a way to take care of them when they come back. We just drop them. Right now, we got a lot of people homeless, a lot of people killing themselves, and we're not doing nothing. I wonder what we're gonna do. Asking all of you freeholders, what are we gonna do about this?
We have a pretty comprehensive program here in Burlington County. We do have the PTSD clinics, which I think you're aware of. We operate at least one.
Yeah, but no work.
Well, I mean, I'm not a professional in that field. I don't feel that I'm qualified to say whether or not they work. If you are, that's a different circumstance. I don't feel qualified.
I don't say I am, but I was in 2 wars, and I know people that come from the war, we have to talk to them. We have to treat them. And we're not doing nothing about it. The military, we throw them out. And when they come out, we don't care. And we have to do something about that. And I'd like to, if you can make a meeting with the governor or with the congressman, or we need to talk to somebody. We need to approach this. I see so many people killing it, and now we got more than double when I came from the war. And we're going to have to stop this. And I figure if we can talk to somebody, we can challenge and do something about it. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Christian Brown.
Sorry.
The whole time.
Yeah,
that's the same thing.
no. Sorry.
Melanie Canfield, Gaston.
Yes, Freeholders, I'm back again. My name is Melanie Canfield Gaskell. I am the newly elected president of Burlington County Institute of Technology and Education Association, representing all our members. We're here again to present our frustration over not having a contract. Our members have attended board meetings, Board of Education meetings, freeholder meetings, in an effort to bring about a fair resolution to our contract negotiation. It's been 713 days since our contract expired. Mr. Donnelly, why do you not compare apples to apples when you discuss rates in the Burlington County Times? You stated in your commentary article dated June 6, 2013, that we wanted a rate that is radically different than the county. No, what we want is a rate that's consistent with other teachers' union salaries in the county. When we compare salaries with other teachers' unions in the county, what we ask of our board is not even close to what the other teachers are getting. The settlement rate for teacher salaries are well over 1.75% that you were suggesting we settle for. The state Board of Education says the rates for the past year were 2.31%, and for next year, they're 2.23%. NJEA research shows 2.52 and 2.39. These are not made-up numbers, these are facts. If you're a taxpayer without a government-funded pension and health benefits, how much would you believe is reasonable? Those are your words, Mr. Donnelly. You stated so, you state as though it was a fact that we're not contributing our fair rate for our health insurance. We contribute every year at a rate that continues to cost more and more because of legislation, not because of what we've negotiated. Teachers have never failed to pay their percentage of pension benefits. It's the government, i.e. the state, that has grossly underfunded the pension and has not put their percentages in until recently for approximately 17 years. The freeholders do roughly contribute 48% of the school's budget, not the 50% that was alluded by Mr. Donnelly in the Times. This contributed amount has been the same since 1996, which I'd like to throw in a question. That last allocation to BCIT was at the end of the 15 million that
It may be, because their year starts July 1. That may be. Mr. President, Mr. Troy, are you aware?
The fiscal year's costs, they end in June, and so we make payments, but this satisfies their calendar year 12-13 budget requirements.
What the public may not know is that BCIT does receive monies from the freeholders, yet this board does not distribute the funds in a timely fashion, thus resulting in BCIT having to take out bank loans at least for the past 2 years in a row. And BCIT has to pay back those loans with interest, which could, if we didn't have to do that, it would be teacher salaries. You settled one of the county's largest unions for 1.75. You stated that historically this sets the standard. Maybe history should be rewritten. Are the facts
Are there facts to show that the teachers in this county have historically settled for the same rate as the largest union? We asked, why would you put such a negative public comment about BCIT and not wait for the fact-finding report? You stated that you do not meddle in our contract, yet we all understand that freeholders do have the influence over the Board of Ed because they are appointed by you. We believe a fair contract is possible, and the elements of that contract between the board and the association were mediated at a fact-finding session by the fact finder having heard all the facts. Meanwhile, our contract is expired, but our optimism is fair. We want to settle a contract. We're hoping that this board will back the recommendations of whatever the fact finders finds and let our members know that the process has worked and it's time to move forward. We still ask who decided that even though the difference is small, the settlement is not going to happen. Okay, because we're here, the board didn't do it, you didn't do it, so I'm guessing it's the aliens. Why would anyone allow another school year to end on such a negative note when there could be a closure and planning for a new school year rather than planning for a new crisis coming back? The staff has earned a fair contract and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Louis?
My first question is, if there was a 3 Democrats that would change the whole decision for number 10.
Sure. Well, I don't know that. I don't know if some parts of it is possible. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know why 3 Republicans say no and 2 Democrats. I mean, the 3 Republicans say yes and 2 Democrats say no. I would like to see equal balance.
That's impossible on a 5-person board.
Yeah, someone that could do position as an independent. I would like to see that. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent. Second question is, what's the status of the Burlington County inmate that's already transferred already?
I executed the agreement with Boston County just this afternoon. I believe it was delivered to Director Damager this afternoon, so the board in Boston County can take action.
That's correct, Director, and it has been executed by Gloucester County.
This evening, that.
How do you feel about the people who lost their job at the county building?
No one lost their job. No, we're bringing inmates into Burlington County.
No, I mean, it works and not the work at the Burlington County.
I'm not aware of their situation.
Second question is, how much did you get from the Bridge Commission from this year?
Sorry?
How much did you get from the Bridge Commission?
For the maintenance of their approaches?
No, just for this year.
For the maintenance of their roads
Yeah.
and purposes of approaches, $3 million.
I also want to thank everybody in the comments for the Freeholder. I also want to thank Mr. Belton and Mr. Richard Kufako for coming to the Freeholder meeting. I want to thank Amy Barger and Joanne Sort who voted no to number 10. And there's 2 events going on this weekend. One this weekend, medieval timing at the High C on Saturday, June 15, from 12 to 6 p.m. It's a free event. Real village race, Mahali, New Jersey. Costume is appreciated, no weapon. The second one is Delaware Fire Station, June 19, 2013, from 10 p.m. to 1 p.m. at 1020 South Chestnut Avenue, Delaware, New Jersey, 48075. Free eye, health, and vision screening. And like I say, I hope there will be a change for the incoming number 5 election. So I'd like to see an equal balance of the Republicans and Democrats. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Yes, sir.
Desmond Mount Holly, and I represent the Township Historic Trust. Here about the train station museum in Pendleton, as it's now been closed up and we have everything in storage. I want to know if the freeholders are allowed to operate a monthly takeover.
That would be a board, the decision that the board makes at the appropriate time. I was unaware that everything was in storage. I didn't know that.
Well, the mayor evicted us, either they would take it out and sell them what was there.
Well,
We had
pleased to
no
know that
choice.
in fact you're able to clear the account.
We had no choice, we're against the wall. We're still against the wall, the fact that we have everything in storage, including funds and cold storage, which have put many items on it. Also, the train cars are still up in the air, and we would like to sell them for scrap. And they're historic items that belong to Burlington County.
Mark, what did you say, they belong to Burlington County?
They should belong in Burlington County. Many of them ran in Burlington County, some came from Groveland, and they have historic nature. Either they were on that line that ran through here from Camden to Fort Pitt and Warren, or identical units to them ran on that line. Now, you can't replace them. I mean, they're gone. And they're appealing to you for help, for assistance, and the option is either to find no way of saying this, and the county's going to be taking the facility over. The museum is now completely empty.
But when we had met, you had mentioned you were looking to move to Mount Holly.
Pardon?
You had mentioned you were looking to move to Mount Holly, correct?
It's an option, but we need assistance to do that. We just can't acquire something without funding. And it's not an easy trick to pull off when you're a non-profit organization. We have a track record. We operated that museum from March of '99 up to 2 years ago, June 1st. When they locked the doors on us, they also locked the trail down for the last 2 years. There's signs on the trail, no trespassing. That trail's been locked up for 2 years now. We've been locked for 2 years. Many people have protested with emails, letters. 100-some people have appeared before township meetings in the last year and a half. Made no difference. And many times there's conflicting reports of who's responsible. Township at times has named the freeholders, and the freeholders say they have nothing to do with it. We don't know what's going on.
I think it's difficult to say this to the county in that we neither own title to the building nor the rail cars that are there. That's not ours.
They contend that there's a contract for the county to take over the station and the trail. And it was also mentioned publicly, it was even in the news media, that the county wants the cars removed from there before they took it over. I'm just telling you what's in the press and what's been told publicly at public meetings. And that's all related. The point is, we're stuck in between. We've had large collections that affect this county and affect South Jersey. And they're either going to be moved some other place, and it's be a shame to move them out of the county. We've never had any public funding from the township when we were there since March of '99. We've had no budget office. They paid the $67,000 a year for utilities, and that was the expenditure. There was not even supplies for the public restroom, which had to be there because it was a rail to trail. So now I'm coming before the freeholders tonight to see what they can do about it.
We'll take a look at it.
Pardon?
We'll have to take a look at it. I asked you, when we met, I said I needed a detailed business plan before I could take anything back to the board. Because we're not in a position to fund an entire operation. I think you and I had this conversation.
Well, we're not asking you to support the operation. We're We're asking for relocation of the operation.
which is several $100,000, if not $1 million. Just to move the rail cars would be hundreds of it. No?
The total we come up with the acquisition of the station plus the transition to $228,000.
I'd like to see the quotes and the estimate.
Pardon?
I'd like to see the quotes and the estimate.
I'd be glad to meet with you at any time.
Thank you.
How soon could we go?
As soon as you have quotes from folks down showing that, I'm going to be done. You've done a job Wednesday and Friday.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mary Ann. I encountered a serious safety hazard. It's in Springfield Township, and it's a crosswalk. It's in front of the community center. And that area was used with county funding to open space, make a parking lot there. And they have a nice crosswalk, but there's no flashing lights, there's no forewarning, and that's a high-speed road. I was going to practice there the first Sunday in June, and nearly got flipped both ways because the people don't even slow down. So it really needs to have flashing lights far in advance of it, or it has to have signage before they're telling people that they need to reduce their speed. It's a very serious situation. Most of the people are my age or even older going to that breakfast the first Sunday of every month, except for the next 2 months in the summer. Also, I'd like to know, have the cameras been installed at the jail? It was recommended that cameras be installed in the jail after that inmate was assaulted. Have they installed cameras?
What was that, Ken?
It's in the process?
Additional cameras. We have cameras, we've always had.
Yes.
Well, the additional after the inmate was assaulted. So it's in the process, meaning what? You're designing, it's scheduled to be. Well, I do.
Mr. Becker, are you?
Yes, I'm aware. We had a firm come out and do a full analysis of additional cameras through that incident. We have quotes, and we're working with finance, whether we have to go out to bid through the dollar amount, or we can go through New Jersey State contract pricing.
Thank you.
And the installation of these cameras was recommended by,
Nate, you know by whom the cameras, the recommendation of camera installation was?
It was discussed with the Burlington County Insurance Commission. There were discussions there. There was action taken as a result of those discussions. I think that's how.
that was
Burlington County Insurance.
directed that was several months ago, so that's why I'm questioning what the status is of this action that was recommended for improving safety, and not only improving safety, but reducing the county getting sued. And my question, has the acting CFO received his certification? God bless you.
Thank you. That's pending to move forward. I believe there was an exam taken. Pending.
I can't repeat.
That's pending. There was an exam taken. It's pending.
Okay, so he took the exam. Okay. Do you know when he took the exam? No,
in
there
the last couple of weeks.
All right, because the only reason I asked is the state said there was nothing scheduled. Okay. And also, once again, I'm here this evening to champion the need of the cause to seriously look at this sheriff's officer's contract raise. And I know, Joe, you're going to tell me there's nothing you can do.